Welcome to Spurs Kings TV. It is Tuesday. You know what time it is. It is Ashmatic Analysis. Ash, are you well?
Yes, my brother. I'm very well, man. How are you doing?
All right. Tired, but all right. I tried not to fall asleep this week.
Wasn't that bad, was it?
Oh, Jesus, you lot went on. No, last time.
I remember not to invite them back here. All right.
We were Jay and Mr. Monk's office. They were too busy getting along, man. I didn't like their loving.
Yeah, I was too happy.
No, everyone, welcome. So, missed week, no game. What the fuck we're going to talk about?
It's just Tottenham. There's always something to talk about, bro.
There's always something to talk about. All right, first of all, let's bring him out. First of all, let's bring out the man that everybody knows. He's part of the channel. We don't really like him, but he's here. And you well,
okay, you're right.
Yeah, you well.
Yeah. Apart from watching Greece get knocked down, I'm all good.
Hey, mate, you're a Spurs fan. Yeah, it happens. The next person, I call her the Queen. She's the Queen of the Kings. She make sure we are all in place on this channel and make sure we are acting right. Right. But let's give a big shout to Mia. Mia, are you well?
I'm well, thank you. I enjoy being called a queen. It's not very often that happens, so I appreciate that.
All right, you'll always be a queen to this channel. And then last but not least, I don't think I've actually shared a stream with this guy, come thinking about it. This will be the first time. I don't think I've even done We Are Tottenham TV with him. But let's give a big shout out to Amir. Are you well?
I'm doing good, guys. It's a pleasure to join you all this evening. And I'm looking forward to breaking a few things down and having a bit of a laugh tonight. Fantastic.
All right, so let's get straight into it, right? Let's really get into it. The first person that we need to talk about is this guy here. We didn't really get to talk about him last time, but he's saying he wants to stay. Ash, talk to me. Convince me why he needs to stay at Tottenham Hotspur.
Convince you?
Yeah.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I had someone that was going to defend him, but I'm not that person. So, look, Werner, he's 28 years old. He just missed out on the German squads. I think they're looking for players that are younger, and they've got a higher ceiling. And I think Spurs should do the same, in my opinion. However, since he's come here, he's had a 50-50, and I think that's why the fan base are slightly divided because, let's face it, the games he has come on, he's had games where he's got an assist, he's had games where he's scored goals, and he's made a difference coming on against tired legs as a squad player. I think that's where the argument is, where you can say, look, Werner comes on, he's going to work his socks off. Not only is he going to run up and down the pitch, but defensively wise as well, he's going to help out your doggy where it needs to be. And that's one thing you can't discredit the guy, his work rate. He does work a lot. But when it comes, for me, bread and butter, when it comes to finishing your dinner, when it comes to being a natural footballer in that position where we need goals from the wingers, it's not just the striker that you want the responsibility on. You want your other players to step up. And for me as well, it's not just a goal scoring thing. It's a mentality, because if you're missing in the big games where we need you to stand up to get us over the line, I'm not sure he's that guy that we can count on, if I'm being totally honest. Nothing against the guy personally. He sounds like he's a juvenile. He's like a kind of a joker. People seem to like him. Sense of humor is a bit dry, he's a bit sarcastic, whatnot. He says goosebumps. I don't know. Sounds like a nice guy, but we've got quite a lot of nice guys at Tottenham at the moment.
Is that the problem, Ash? Don't you think?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you don't want too much of the same profile of player in terms of footballing ability and being that nice guy kind of vibe. You kind of want someone with a little bit like of arrogance, just to mix the bag up a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I tend to agree with you, man. I'm not sure if he's what we need moving forward. If we're trying to get to that Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal kind of, we're trying to catch those kind of guys.
Amir, let me bring you in. Werner.
Look, I mean, Ash summed it up really, really well, to be honest with you. I think if the guy could finish his dinner and actually put the ball in the back of the net, then you've got quite a handy super sub there.
But if he could do that, would he be a Spurs player?
There you go. Well, you answered the question there, Marlon. You know, like it's one of these things where, you know, we've gone and given him a chance on loan, see how you do. And to be fair to him, right? To be fair, he has made an impact in a few games. He's assisted. He's got a couple of goals. But is he the guy to take us forward? Is he the guy to, you know, score worldies in Europe next season? I just don't think so. We'll probably get into it a bit later. But yeah, there's a few wingers that I have my eye on across Europe that I would snap up instead of Werner. It's nothing against the guy. To be fair to him, he seems like a nice guy. I just don't think he's the player that's really going to take this front three to the next level. There is a case maybe to keep him as a super sub if you get a really good deal. But again, is that what we want to be doing? Scrimping and saving and doing good deals and, you know, settling, or do we want to go out and get that, you know, marquee signing? That's where I'd rather want to be honest.
Mia, super sub, or should we be wasting 16 million on Werner when there's probably other wingers out there where we could probably reinvest somewhere else?
Yeah, see, I'm not that keen on keeping him because I think that it'd have to contribute more to convince me, because currently I don't think he's not really convinced me, and I have said that. However, if I was going to say on the people who are saying this isn't a bad thing, I would say for that amount of money, as somebody who could come off the bench, would we get anybody else? If he was to contribute more, if he was to contribute as much as I want him to, and he could do that, then could we get anybody for that amount of money? Probably not, because when you look at other benches, apart from City, maybe Liverpool, when it comes to it, their options aren't the greatest. Like, they haven't got those players, if you look, when you think about what other teams have. So what I would say is maybe that's where people's angle is coming from, but we can definitely get better. But I think we're going to sell players in order to get that player anyway. So I don't think that we will get Werner and that's that. If that makes sense. I don't think he would be the only one we got. So I think there's an argument on both sides, but I'm more on the not keeping him at the moment side because he has not convinced me particularly.
I know where you sit on it. But just explain to the audience who haven't watched you.
All right. Right off the bat, I think he's going to sign for Spurs regardless of what we say on this podcast tonight, because he's cheap and cheerful and they're going to get him. As my thoughts on him as a player, I think the Spurs line was his almost last chance saloon or hurrah to revamp or have a redemption in some time of his career, because obviously we were talking about the Werner of like 5-6 years ago when he was at Leipzig in his first spell. The guy was probably one of the best strikers on the planet at the time. And obviously he came to England, he had that spell at Chelsea and fell apart after that really. But Spurs are taking like a cheap, low-risk gamble in getting him in. And I think if we're looking at how the way Spurs do business, they'll see him as like a backup to Sonny next season, I think. That's just my take on it. So, but in terms of how I felt about how he's played, I think he's done like okay. He's done really set the world alight. I actually quite like him as a player, but I just don't think he's the right quality. If you want to bridge the gap, like Ash said, between us and the top three, he won't be the guy to take you there.
Do you think that? I look at Man City and they've got Doku coming off the bench. People look at, GA, and people are now saying Doku's a bit of a flop. Like, he's overrated. He's not really living up to expectations. Do you think Werner's come in and done a little bit better than what he has coming off the bench? Or do you think, not really? Doku would have been better at, like, if Spurs got like a Doku, he'd be we'd be cooking.
I'd say, look. With me, I look at how Dockley's played against the top teams, right? And he's been a bit of a threat. Yeah, he hasn't been that final ball, that final, and everything has not been there. But then I look at Werner when he's played City and when he was playing those big games as well for us. He's not been great, right? He's a wonderful footballer. Don't get me wrong. He's a wonderful footballer because that touch he took against Palace for that through ball was fantastic. But he's meant to be a forward, right? And for me, Ange relies on his forward line to be scoring goals, and they've got to chip in, right? And I think Amir and Ash, you were in it when I said so. Brains put out a thing in the group where he showed where was it our last home game where Werner runs down the left, crosses it in the box, and Kulusevski's not there.
Yep.
Right. But my problem with that is that how many times Werner had got the ball beforehand and hadn't done that once, right? And you saw all Maddison, I think it was Son and Kulusevski hesitate because they didn't know what he was going to do. And he didn't do this until the 60th or 70th minute, right? Johnson, for me, has made a bigger impact on Spurs, right? Considering how many people don't like him than what Werner is, right? And we can't have two of them. We can't have two of them because Werner, like for me, Johnson, yeah, he's not the best finisher, but we can't have two on the wings because we're going to be in a situation where we come up against Fulham, right? Johnson doesn't play well. Werner comes on and doesn't play well. Right, and you thought he was going to come on, and from that Villa finish, you thought he was going to come on and be like, yeah, but he can't finish. If he can't finish, there's no point being here. Right, he's been for me, January signing, I weren't happy, but he's here. Right, but he's contributed. But as everyone has said, if he wants to take the club forward, and Spurs want to move forward, we can't be signing players like Werner. We've got to look bigger and better, right? You want the players now like Son, you want to be replacing players like him. So Sonny's coming off the bench, or you can rotate it where Sonny's not playing because Sonny's going to be 32 at the end of the season.
Yeah.
We can't be doing the game with Sonny. We need to replace him this summer. This summer we have to replace Son now. Otherwise, we're getting Son into another season, playing every game, getting tired, and there's going to be in and out, and everyone's going to be like, Son's not it. But that's the reason we're playing. He's got to go to Korea. He's got to come back here. He's playing too many games. We need to
his age has caught up with him. That's what I think. But
you're starting to see it in certain games, and like he can't just fly off to go play an Asian Cup and then come back and play for Spurs. Yeah. It's not required anymore. You need somebody that's gonna be able to replace him and be ready now. You can't have a Werner. Because
the thing is, like, the club might. I know you say that, and I agree with you totally, Marlon. But the club will see him as, we can just use him for like a couple of years to fill in that spot. I'm not saying I agree with you, but I disagree with you. By the way, I'm just saying the club will see it that way.
This is how I see it. The club will sign him if we don't make Champions League. If we get Europa League football, I think they'll sign him because
I think they'll sign regardless. Actually,
I don't think they'll sign him if we get Champions League football because he's not that quality. He's not a Champions League quality bench player.
But he's cheap. That's why I think they'll sign him.
I think the club will surprise us this summer.
Does anyone think Ange has a say in terms of like what happens with Werner? Because you're saying Champions League will get him. Well, no, we won't get him, sorry. And if it's Europa, we will get him. So does anyone think Ange has a say in terms of what happens with Werner? Do you know what I'm saying?
I'd hope so. I'd hope he's got the final say. If he doesn't have the final say, what's he doing managing? You know what I mean? Like, he's got to bring the players in that he wants for his squad next season that he feels can go and challenge, right? He's always speaking about how, top four or whatever isn't, an achievement. So, if you're speaking big, then you need to back it up in the summer with the players that you're going to bring in. Right, and I think there's a lot of talent on there and out there to get. And Marlon, your thing about replacing Son, I fully agree with you that we need to be bringing in top quality to try and replace Son. I just think that Sonny Boy is kind of like Kane. He's irreplaceable. He's a type of player that gives you so much, skill, talent, pace, goals. Even he's shown leadership this season, taking the captaincy role and raising the fans at the stadium and so much to the team. So you know, I think he's going to be really, really hard to find a player that can come in and fill Sonny's boots, which is why I think we should be looking to keep him for the next couple of seasons and building around him. If you have wingers around him that can provide the quality needed, you know, I'm just going to shoot out a few names here, but, you know, the likes of Williams, the likes of Khartatsvelia, the Georgian Messi, you know, Mitoma, even something like that, that can go and twine people up and just go left, go right, provide an assist, score a goal. Those are the type of players that I'd rather get over Werner.
There is a player that plays for Hoffenheim, and he actually kept Werner out of the side for Germany, and he's 21 years old.
Is this that Wirtz?
It's not the Wirtz. He's basically his name's Bremer.
Oh, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, Bera, sorry, his name is. And he plays in obviously the German league. He's 21, as I said, 21 years old, and he's got 12 goals so far in the season, and he's got 1 assist in the Bundesliga.
I think we should get him just based on his birthday, because he has like the best birthday ever.
What birthday is that?
Born October the 17th. That great birthday.
What's so significant about that birthday?
My son was born on that birthday as well as me.
Oh, bless. All right, cool. He plays, obviously, he can play up front, he can play left, and he can play on the right. So he can play all 3 positions. And this is where he's played as well. He played at under 19s Hoffenheim, played for Hanover on a loan fee, and then he's gone back to Hoffenheim at the end of that loan spell, where he did in 2023. In that formation, he's played in a 3-4-2-1. In the 3-4-2-1, he's played behind the striker, which is Weghorst. So he's playing just behind them, but just playing off the front man in the 3-4-2-1. There's his heat map, so you can see predominantly he's coming off the left, a bit like where you'd see a Son. Son sometimes plays in the left wing, and you can see the heat map that he's there in the box as well. So those are the positions he picks up, and the fact that he's both-footed. I always like to look at the heat map because it tells me what type of player you are, and the fact that he hits the touchline quite a bit, it's quite red in that area, tells me that he's going to be like, he's more of a wing forward, an inside forward type of a player. Here's his actual statistics. So you've got his non-penalty goals, 89th percentile in the top 5 leagues in Europe. His XG as well is quite high. So he's getting in loads of positions where he's a threat. Shots in total as well. So that means he takes a lot of shots as well. He's in 79th percentile. Non-penalties as well, 60%. Shot creation action, 69%. Progressive carries, 80%. So you were talking about that earlier, Amir, how you want someone that's, you know, a bit of a demon on the wing, carry the ball. He's got successful take-ons to 75%. So that's not bad at all. That means he could take his man on, he could beat his man. And also progressive passes into the box and receiving it. He's got a good touch on him. So pretty good. Tackling, not bad either, and blocks as well. So maybe that's the system that he's playing in as well, in a 3-4-2-1, which is quite defensive. But here's his goals. Here's a look at some of his goals. You can see here, getting into the box, tenacious, stays on his feet, finishes it. Good first touch, puts it away. In the box, gets a header. Again, in the right space, in the box, in between the 2 sticks. Finishes with another header here, comes inside, finishes at bottom corner, quality finish. Again, in the inside of his boot, finishing, getting on the end of things, just doing that things what strikers do. Great finish there, top corner, instinctive there, in the right place at the right time. Laces, bottom corner, and he's taking it first time, he's taking it early. He's getting it, he's shooting to the other post, wrong foot in the goalkeeper, getting a little cheeky deflection in there, beats a keeper one-on-one. So even when he's got time on the ball, he's able to finish. He's not scared. Comes inside, checks back, hits the post, and then someone else is there to finish. Again, on the outside of his boot, finishes. Someone else taps it in. Again, top corner. That was a great quality finish right there. Again, gets out of his feet. Turns the player here and is able to pick that ball back up and shoot, score a goal. So you can see different types of finish in the box, outside the box, 1v1. He's able to be composed, and he's got that kind of striker instinct to finish and get onto the end of things. That's something I like. Again, in the box at the right time. Dribbling, this is what we want to see. He can take on his man. He's pretty quick. He's tenacious on the half turn. He's got good close control there, able to flick over the player. Looks after the ball well here, beats his man. A little bit like Bowen there and that on the wing there, I reckon. Able to skill a man, put it through his legs. This is on the right side, the opposite side. So he's just as dangerous on the right side as on the left. There he is, his pace. He's taking it past the man. And you remember, guys, these guys are only 21 years old. So the ceiling's going to be really high. First touch, excellent. Beats the man on the outside. That's what we want to see. You want to see a man take on the outside. And he's doing that constantly, taking a man on the outside. Here he is central, just being a menace, running through, taking that player on, dribbling, going on the inside as well. He's able to carry the ball, look a quick half turn, goes on the outside, beats the player, picks the ball up halfway in the line, attacks the player, able to link the play, get into the box, cause actions where players have to take him down because he's so quick. We're going to have to foul him. Passing wise, he's good to link up, good in possession, gets his head up, is able to find a pass with the outside of his boot, bit cheeky, bit like Madison there. A nice little through ball into the box, looking dangerous. A long ball over the top to find his teammate. Again, outside of his boot, little assist there across the box, cuts back, finds a little through ball. And this is the type of link play we want to see. Holds it up, then finds a player. Good back heel, good across the box, gets that ball forward, finds it in for a nice assist on the floor. So this guy's got a lot of different styles of passing. Look at his switch of play there to open up the pitch. Finds a forward pass. So he knows what the striker's likes. He knows the weight of pass to give to his players as well, as you can see when he's finding that through ball. So the through balls, the passes into the box are plentiful. And he's picking up good positions to find his teammates. He's got good awareness, I'd say, good match intelligence to pick out his teammates and find them in good oppositions. A thing where you don't want to get a player and they lose the ball and then you lose possession and there's a high turnover. You want someone that finds a pass in that final third. Look at the passes from deep as well. It's not just crosses and cutbacks. It's balls into the dangerous areas that he's able to progress the play. Little link-up play, little 1-2s, gets on the end of things here and able to do little cutbacks to help with his teammates. His teammates should really finish it there. Again, nice little link play again. Gets that ball. Something that you see from Son sometimes. He kind of gets on the wing, holds it up, and then cuts it across the box. That's a bit of Ange play there. Little cutbacks. You can see him in the Ange system, cutting the ball back. Here he is against Ollie Watkins. Let me slow it down a bit. His minutes per game against Watkins and Bowens, what compared. So he's got quite a few minutes. If I go on to the next clip, if I go
only one assist though, Ash. Only one assist out of all those good balls that he's putting in.
Well, this is it. I think if he's deployed as an inside forward or a wide forward, it comes down to his teammates. If he's putting it down on the plate and his team, if they're not a possession team and he hasn't got the players to finish off the dinner, what can you do? Do you know what I mean?
No, I hear that. I hear that.
It's expected assist a little bit higher. So when I look into this, to I see he's only got one assist. I'm like, is it really him or is it his teammates?
I haven't seen him play, so I can't really say like defensively, but he came across a lot like a number 10 from those clips. But anyway.
So he plays just behind Werthorst. So he's actually running in behind him. So Werthorst would hold up the play and he'd run in behind and run into that inside channel. Shots per 90, you can see he's quite accurate. So like in terms of the new style striker inside forward, he's quite prolific in terms of how many shots he gets off in the positions he takes up. Shots. Go on.
Do you think it would be very? Look, I'm just looking at it. So with this player, is because you have Kulusevski that comes in who likes to play as a number 10.
Yeah.
Would he not just fit on the other side? Because if that's the way Ange wants to play, if he's not playing with direct wingers, then he's going to want his wingers to come inside, right?
I'm seeing it a bit like how Brennan Johnson's playing at the moment. So Brennan Johnson at the moment is coming inside quite a lot. He's not going on the outside, on the left-hand side I'm talking about, the left-hand side. When you see Brennan Johnson pick up that ball, he does go on the outside sometimes, but against Palace, I noticed he go on the inside quite a bit. So I'm seeing that kind of role for if we were to look for a player like this guy's a little bit more confident in his finishing. And when Brennan Johnson comes in, he doesn't take a shot. You know what I mean? This guy he's quite confident. And like I said, he reminds me of like, imagine having a Bowen on our side.
Yeah, that's what he reminded me of when I saw it.
That's what I can see when I look at this player. I'm looking at his attempts. It's and look, he's not far off Bowen. That's why I've left it there. Successfully, like not far behind Bowen either. And as a percentage, look, Bowen's got 37, he's got 34. So he's not bad at taking his man on. So that's something we need. I looked at this bit because I want to see how he receives the ball under pressure. Not bad either. So that tells me a lot about his technical ability. Can he control a ball under pressure in tight areas? But that's the player that we haven't been linked with, but we'll bring it
You're
out.
doing Lange's job, basically. Or is Lange?
Yeah, he'll watch this.
Ash in.
Marlon put me onto him. I just dug a bit deeper. Everton have been looking at him, and Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp wanted him in January apparently. So they were looking for it, but we desperately need a forward player. I have my opinion in that.
But isn't the risk, Ash, that, and I'm not saying he's a bad player because I haven't seen him play, right? But because of his age, he's still quite raw. I'm not saying he might come in and just be like another John. I'm not saying he's like this, by the way, another Johnson, basically.
But yeah, because this is his first year in the top flight, because last year he was on loan. But from what the German media is saying, he's very similar to, is it Florian Wirtz? He's like going to be the understudy to him.
And he's in the squad.
He's in the squad. He kept Werner out. So that's the reason why you kind of look at him. If the German manager looks at him, then the national, like the nation are getting hyped over this kid.
Nagelsmann.
It's still early days, though. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, I get it.
It's like when people talk about Lucas Bergvall, I'm like, okay, I'm not saying he's done badly or something in his life, but it's like so early. The guy's like 18,
but if you're looking at Spurs, you're looking at Spurs' profile, then he
fits the profile.
He probably fits the profile of what Ange is trying to look at. And what Spurs are going to probably be doing this summer. Well, let's be totally honest. That's what Spurs are going to be looking at this summer. So,
again, young potential, blah blah.
Yeah, but it is the way it is. We can't get away from that. That's what Spurs' model is going to be. We have to start again, and that's what we're not going to sign a world-class player this summer because they're not going to come to Spurs right now. So we have to look at.
I disagree with that though, Marlon. I disagree, man. Why can we not go out and get that player? What is stopping us? We've got all the money in the world. We've got all the facilities. We've got all the reason to go out and get a world-class player.
Because world-class players won't look at Spurs and go, you know what, I'm going there to win something.
But then,
unfortunately, that's the problem.
I'm going to go back to something Stel said on a previous podcast. Apparently, people at Spurs believe that we're going to challenge for the title next season. I don't know what delusion it is, but so if you're going to bridge that gap, you need to go out and sign world-class players.
Guys, I want to add something to this because there's a perception. I don't know what the players' perceptions are, but there are outside influences, and people can agree with this or disagree. I'm going to play a clip, and it's just on Instagram. It's just random guys just talking about and how.
Before you play the clip, I just want to answer Paul Pablo's because he's gone. Werner lost form at Chelsea, but look at players did not make it at Chelsea, and he mentions Mo Salah and De Bruyne, and I just want to answer this and debunk it. Right, you look at Mo Salah, right? He went off to Roma and Fiorentina, and he hit the ground running.
Smashed it.
Absolutely smashed it. De Bruyne went to Wolfsburg, who were crap. And completely smashed it and turned them into a top side, right? So they've gone away and done well. The problem with Werner is he's gone from Chelsea, gone to is it Leipzig?
And back to Leipzig, yeah.
Leipzig, and was useless from what they said. They didn't want to keep him.
Yep.
So I get the comparisons. There are players like that, but there's also players that, like Werner, once they leave Chelsea, they're meant to stay established and get to that top level. Werner didn't do that. And people would argue that Havertz hasn't really done it up until now. So it'd be interesting to see how Havertz turns out in all this.
Mia, do you think, what is your perception? Like, do you agree with Amir? And do you reckon that players actually perceive Spurs as a team where they can go and win stuff? Or do you feel like maybe we need to get a player that's maybe a step below? And before you answer that, I'll put this clip on. You can disagree with this clip or you can agree with it, but it's just throwing it out there, and it's just something that I came across. I thought, okay,
I've gone with the Tottenham Hotspurs. They are the definition of mid.
They finished second a few times.
Yeah, they finished second, but they've never really won it. As a club, they're just sort of half there. I thought of Everton. I've thought of a few teams along that line. West Ham's probably nearly one of them as well, although they won the Europa Conference, I think it was, last season.
But that is mid.
Yeah,
That's
that
the most mid thing you can do.
yeah, 100% actually.
It's
West Ham.
like Everton, there's like, oh, we haven't been relegated in forever since
Yeah.
football was invented. Good. You haven't done shit though. Like you're just
Wait.
so mid.
When you're celebrating a draw, that is literally celebrating being mid.
Yeah, that's right.
So what is your like opinion from what Amir was saying? Do you think we can go out there and get the Matomas because we've got the money? Do we just slap it down and get a Matoma, someone that's proven, or do you think that we need to do the data-driven approach where we kind of look for a player like, I don't know, that's unknown?
The thing about it is that when we have spent big money, they haven't tended to work out. You can still get players that have got the potential to be that class player. Like nobody knows if a player, when they're young, obviously very young, they're going to be world class, but you can go to the next step up where you can see that they've definitely got that potential if you scout them correctly. So I do understand though, because Joe, what I always say, not we're mid, but there is like levels, like there's the top team, then there's the next tier down, and we're like the next tier to that. So when it comes to certain players, they won't want to come to Tottenham, and that is the facts. I agree with what Marlon's saying. I think that we won't get those players because if other bigger teams come in, they're going to go to them. They are going to go to them. So I kind of think we need to also remember where we are in the pecking order a little bit too when it comes to some of these players. I just don't think that they will come to Tottenham, and I agree with Marlon on that one.
All right, well, here's the thing, though, right, Mia, and this is for you as well, Marlon, right? And this hit me as well hard. Dragusin, right? He was linked with Bayern Munich, and he chose to come to Spurs over Bayern Munich. Now, Bayern Munich are a way bigger club that are challenging for titles season in, season out. So that, to me, shows a shift in the sands. That players...
We don't know the reason, though, because the fact is that there could be many reasons why a player would choose us over... Do you know what I mean? Like we can't assume that it's because...
But that's proof that players of a top field...
But like
can choose Spurs over other big clubs.
But you have to. This shows you more about Dragusin the man than anything else, because Bayern Munich was not linked with him up until the last minute, right? So he basically said him and I think it was Paratici. Him and Paratici, he had made a promise to Spurs that that's where he wanted to go. Bayern Munich came in at the last minute because of the whole Dyer situation, right? Dragusin. I tell you this now, if Dragusin had another chance in a year's time or 2 years, he'd go Bayern Munich. We're not being stupid, right? The problem is that it was a gentleman's agreement that he kept to, right? Otherwise, any other day of the week, he's not choosing us. We have to be completely honest about the situation. He would never have chosen us. If every person looked at that, even we looked at it and go, "What are you doing?" Right? But it was a gentleman's agreement. If Bayern Munich were linked with him for a while, and then he chose us over Bayern, then you go, fair enough, but it won't happen again. If that was another player out there, they're not going to choose us.
But Marlon, I don't know about this financial fair play, so correct me. Anyone can step in when they want, and there's profit and sustainability rules. I don't know if it's just something in the wind, if it's bullshit. I don't know. People in the comments, let man know, innit? And I don't know, innit? I don't know if it's truth to this, where everyone is in the mud and they can't really move this summer. And so you're going to see an all-time low in the Premier League in terms of spending, in terms of who teams go for, like the top 3-4 teams or top 6, top 7, whatever you want to call it. Are gone the days where you get a rich, like, daddy, you know what I'm saying? You get a rich daddy, pause, no diddy, you know, and just splash it on you. You know what I'm saying? Pause again. And you just get whatever player you want. Or is it a thing where are we in a position where because we've got our accounts in order and, you know, even though we need to get rid of a few players, we've got an opportunity now where we can actually spend big on a couple men. Like, I don't know. Am I wrong? Or that's what
I don't think you're wrong.
I want to go back to your comment about Dragusin. So, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think Dragusin, like a lot of other players, see Spurs as a stepping stone. So he knows he ain't going to play regular Bayern Munich, say, for example, right now. But in 2 years, say he does like, all right, Spurs, just like Carrick, Berbatov, Modric. I can ring off a shit ton of names.
Eric Dyer.
They all go to like bigger and better clubs, actually win things afterwards, because they know they either get sold a dream. Oh, Spurs, we're building a project, we're going to win something in like 10 years or something. I don't know, just throwing out years, by the way. I'm sure they don't mean 10, and then it never actually happens, because this is why Kane got fed up and left. Obviously, he gave us a lot more years than really he should have been let go in 2021, because I mean he wanted to leave back then, and he gave us enough chances at that point. But because of Conte and whatever else happened, he stayed. But until we start being our mindset as a club itself, not us fans, because a lot of us fans who want Levy out actually have a bigger mindset and a bigger things than just
no. Don't just accuse people, because some people aren't staunchly sitting there saying Levy out, that we've got a different mindset. That's an assumption that you are making about people, and I suggest you take that back, because not everybody thinks the same.
Whatever. Anyway, carrying on.
So
what I'm saying is that the mindset as a club has to change, right? So in order to, you look at Liverpool, and I use Liverpool as an example because it's a brilliant example, because Liverpool don't have like a money bags or sugar daddy or whatever, or Saudi Arabian owner or whatever people want to throw. So when Liverpool, I knew they were serious, is when they went and bought Van Dijk for 75 million and Alisson for 80 million. Because I know, I was like, yeah, they're going to win the title this season, because you know they meant business. Until Spurs go do something like that.
They spent that because they sold a massive player to get that money, right?
Yeah, we just did that though, Mia.
We just sold Harry Kane for something million.
We have the money to spend on huge players, big players.
What I meant by that was that they spent money. They did spend big money, but they spent big money obviously because they sold their player for.
But we just sold Harry Kane for 100-something million.
Carry on, Has. I want to hear your full.
Let me just drop what I'm going to say. So that's when you knew Liverpool was serious, right? And obviously they ended up winning the title, and they've won countless trophies since then, because you knew they meant business. They went and bought 2 players, world-class players, who fit in whatever they wanted to fix. Because obviously we knew they had that Lovren issue for like 2-3 years. The keeper was an issue because of Karius, whatever. Until Spurs make a statement like that, I will not believe anything.
So Mia, what are you saying? Do you reckon that the take Kane out of this situation? Do you think Liverpool's situation was slightly different to ours? Is that what you're saying? In terms of getting over the line.
Yeah, I think that obviously.
Are we in a different strategy?
I think it's a different level, because Liverpool are a different level to us. Don't forget how big of a team Liverpool have always been. When obviously back in the day they've always been a bigger team than us. So I think that's the difference with the type of players that you can attract and get. So I do think we are in a different. It's just different for us than it would be for a Liverpool. That's just the facts. Because like I say, there is tiers and levels to this. Like when it comes to players who are going to go to certain clubs.
I disagree with that, because Mane could have easily been a Spurs player that summer, for example. We went to Liverpool. Same with Wijnaldum. But we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared to pay the wages to get them in. I mean, Mane even went to the training ground. I know this for like a fact. So you can't say we're not competing with them. At that time, obviously, we were above them in the table. But you look at the income even now, we're at like the 9th in the world or something, or probably going to be even higher at this point.
Isn't it 6th?
8th.
I don't know.
It's going to get higher. I don't know what the speaker's going to say.
If we get Champions League, then we go above a few of our competitors. So yeah,
and I think also differences at Spurs is we'd rather spend, for example, this 100 million we have from Kane. Just use that example. We'd rather buy 2 50 million pound players who are like 21, 22 or something like that, rather than drop 90 million on one World Cup.
But that's what Ange said he wants. That's what Ange said he would prefer, didn't he?
I just think that's a PR spin, to be honest.
Do you think, before you answer Mia, do you think, Has, that, like I read in the comments that, Klopp, he had like a few more years into his project before he made that splash compared to what Ange's on. Like Ange's like 8 months into his tenure, so maybe he needs
still there. But with Klopp, like I know everyone says that, and everyone looks at the Coutinho, Van Dijk, Alisson situation, but they still signed Wijnaldum, they still signed Mane, they still signed Salah before Coutinho had even left. So they had these players already made. They just needed to spring. And look, that season that we were talking about, when Klopp, everyone kept saying to Klopp, you need a central defender and you need a goalkeeper, right? We all saw it. And Klopp was being Klopp and was like, no, I'm not listening, this, that, and the other. After the Champions League final, he went, I need the goalkeeper, right? So he went out and got Alisson, and it's proven to be the final piece of jigsaw. Well, Van Dijk, they wanted the summer before, but Southampton weren't willing to sell, and then they had to give in because Lovren was crap and cost them games. But it took those two light bulb moments for Klopp to go, yeah, you know, right.
How far off are we from like that cusp of like breaking that top three? Supposing Liverpool go missing next season because Klopp is gone and they kind of drop down a level, how far are Spurs from getting to that third, second spot?
It's a good question. Amir, start first. How far are we away, player-wise?
Player-wise, I would say
without knowing which players we're going to bring in, knowing the squad now, how far away are we?
Ins and outs or just ins?
Just ins.
Forget
who's going out.
Yeah,
okay. So in terms of ins, I think we're around 5 players, and that's being kind.
Positions?
That's being kind. So I think we need 2 wingers, to be perfectly honest with you. I think also we need a 6, a top quality 6. You know, the likes of Paulinho at Fulham. We saw what he did to us. And I do think we also need a backup keeper. I think that's a position that if Vic gets injured, God forbid, you know, something serious, I think we're really, really lacking in that department. And I also think that we need someone on that right wing back role, Porro as well. When he gets injured, we're not. So those would be the 5 for me, but obviously I could add in a few more there as well. But those are the 5 key ones for me, I think.
Mia, where do you sit on it?
I probably would say about 5 as well. I think.
And your positions?
5.
Yeah.
I would probably say a replacement for Destiny and Porro, because I think that someone who can come in and you can get the players who can play either side, so you could probably get one player to maybe possibly cover both. If not, then 2. I would have 2 then. I'd have either side. I'd have both of them, because I think that when we've got them missing, we are missing something massively. I think we need someone who's going to be, if Maddison's getting basically kicked out like the game and they're marking him, we need someone different to be our creator. We need a 6 and a winger.
Ash? No, Ash has, sorry. Why just looking at you.
I mean, number 6, 2 fullbacks. You could push Davies into centre half for a year, and then move Kulusevski into the middle as cover for Maddison for a year, and then you arguably need like a front 3 as well.
6 players.
6, yeah. I think the keeper's a lower priority for me. I think I'd rather see. I know it's probably unorthodox, but give Austin a chance or something. I'd rather see that than just go out and find another keeper.
I tell you what, I was at the under-21s derby, and Gunter, he kept us in that game. He was fantastic.
The goalkeeper,
yeah, he was fantastic.
I just rather we use our youth goalkeepers, because I think the goalkeeper position, I'm not saying it's not important, but we just always bring in these like really bad second choice keepers like Forster. And it's like, we might as well just use youth players at this point. If the youth players don't do it, then in the future, someone else. But I think the keeper, because keepers tend to get less injured anyway, is less of a priority.
Ash, where are you sitting on it?
Yeah, I tend to agree, man. I think to bridge the gap.
To bridge the gap and take Liverpool's spot.
To bridge the gap, we need, I would say at least 4. I'd say at least 4.
Your 4 positions?
4. I would like to see a winger, like top quality winger. Top quality winger.
Who, Ash? Who in your eyes? Like if you had there 60 mil, 65 mil, there you go. Bang.
I think you need more than that nowadays, but anyway.
All right, 70, let's say. 70.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would take, I don't know if he would come though. This is the thing. I'm so like ambitious. I don't think that player would like why would he come to Spurs? But I love a layout. I think layout's dope.
Okay, yeah. Quality player.
Quality winger.
Quality player.
I really like him.
He's hit and miss though. He is hit and miss.
I think I just like he beats a man. I think
when he played against us though, right?
I thought
he wasn't that good. He should have been. He was the player that everyone was worried about, right? And if we're being honest, Skip and Sarr were probably the best two in that first game at
the away leg,
right?
yeah. I thought against us,
but at home, we defended, but again, it wasn't like he took you'd watch games that he plays in, right? And there's been a few AC Milan ones because everyone talks about him, and obviously for Portugal as well. And I think he needs more to his game than just. I think for 70, 80 million, I don't think he's the finished product.
I agree with Marlon on this. It's like with Neto. I think people overrate Neto as well.
Yeah. Neto's injuries, I wouldn't go anywhere near him, mate.
I don't think he's even he's a good player. He's probably better than
we're not debating. I'm not debating whether he's a good player or not. I'm more debating for what Spurs need right now. We can't have a hit and miss. We need someone who's going to hit that ground.
I think he's better than what we have at the moment, if I'm being totally honest. I think he's a step up. Like, I don't think one window gets us up there. Do you know what I'm saying? I think we're going to need a couple windows. And like, if you're asking me on the spot to think of a player, I would look at him. He looks like he's available. Like, I would love Sane, but I don't think he's available. I think Leo's available because he said he wants to come Prem or La Liga. He said he doesn't want to go to the French league. And I think right now, money-wise, Prem's got the money. Do you know what I'm saying? So I just look at him. I just think in an attacking team, he's 24 years old. I think the ceiling's high. I think he can improve, definitely. Yeah. I think at Spurs, a 24-year-old winger, he's got the raw ability to do. Imagine him and Destiny Udogie. That's scary. Like, do you know what I'm saying? The physicality of them both, the dribbling of him as well. His take on, like, if you just watch him take on players, I think he's a menace. Do you know what I mean? I just like the size. I like the size. I like his athleticism. I like his agility. I like he gets in the box and can shoot. There's a lot of ticks for me. There's more ticks than there are negatives for me, in my opinion.
I'm not even a fan of Rafinha. I'm a bit iffy about 50-50 about Rafinha.
Chiesa is injury prone, but
I love Chiesa, but again, he's injury prone. Like
he's injury prone. Rafinha, again, I get why you're saying that because I am a fan of Rafinha, but I do get why. I'm talking about the left-hand side in specific. Rafinha,
I think we need more on the right, personally.
If more on the right than he is on the left, in my opinion. So that's why I'm saying Lao over those guys. Rooney Bargy, for me, still a bit of a gamble, but has a potential. We are looking at him. Did do it against Manchester United, did score a goal. So I understand why the club are looking at him. But yeah, that's just me. I
think the Napoli guy's the one we should get, but anyway.
Yeah. It was getting to be number one, of course.
Not because I watched him tonight, but honestly, the guy is too good.
He's too hard. He's too good.
Yeah.
And he's young. He's what, 22?
Yeah, he's mad young.
Yeah.
You would never think of the size of him as well. He's crazy.
Yeah, he's amazing. His finishing as well, you know, he can like volley the ball from outside the box, just smash it in the goal. Like he's top quality. But again, you'd have to pay
like 80-90 million probably for him.
Yeah, I was going to say 70 to 80.
I just don't fit with that club. I'll be honest with you. I just don't fit with that club.
So actually takes us nicely because I was going to, for me, this is the most important position for us next season. And
100%.
It needs to be addressed. And I think what will then happen is the wingers will start becoming not a separate issue, but it will then coincide with whoever this number 9 is. But Ash, you said, is number 9 a thing of the past? Explain.
Well, it's interesting because big up Mr. Box Office. He's the one I'm not going to lie to you.
If you want to know, get to know. Sorry.
By the way, I respect all opinions. Put it out there. Some people
back to you, Marlon.
Some people are like, your opinion's deluded, your opinion's this, that, and everyone gets super personal.
I actually love Alex, personally.
Well, I look at your opinion, I look at Marlon's opinion, I look at Mia's, Amir, and I look at it and I think I'll try to understand where you're coming from and see the logic behind it.
Agree.
Before I attack it.
Yeah.
He put me on, Box Office put me onto this. big up Mr. Box Office. It was a Les Ferdinand overlap interview with Gary Neville, Ian Wright's in there, Roy Keane's in there, and there's a few other people in there as well. Jamie Carragher's in there as well, I think. But anyway, he talks about why is there a drop-off in strikers at the moment. In the 90s, there was loads of centre forwards. Do you know what I mean? He said when he was playing for England, he was competing against, I think it was Andy Cole, Dion Dublin, maybe saying Robbie Fowler. You know what I'm saying?
Take Dion Dublin's name out of your mouth. He kept Coventry and Villa up. Keep him out of your mouth. Big boy Dion.
Seems like inspiration, yeah. So Marlon's inspo. But anyway, who else? Robbie Fowler, Alan Shearer was obviously the goal.
Drogba, Torres.
No, I'm talking about
That's later. That's later.
I'm talking about the England setup.
The English side of
things.
things.
Oh, England. Oh, sorry.
He's talking about England. He's not even talking about the other strikers. Do you know what I'm saying? He said, "Right, Ian Wright couldn't even get a look in." You see what I'm saying? Ian Wright was banging goals for fun, but this is Euro '96 at the time. But basically in the 90s, and like you said, Taz, early noughties, there was like a whole heap of centre forwards. Then he said Ronaldo came on the scene, and so did Lionel Messi. They came on the scene at a similar time. And then all of a sudden, managers were looking more at wingers. And he said the kids coming up, that's all they looked up to. They wanted to be a Messi. They wanted to be Ronaldo's. And so all of a sudden, there was less numbers in the actual market. Now, all of a sudden, there was more wingers. And now a lot of the managers, they wanted wingers. They wanted players that kind of, they didn't stay stationary. Do you know what I mean? They kind of came off the wing and then they were a threat. And those players are harder to mark. If you look at Messi, the way he plays, he comes off the wing, but then he kind of plays behind the striker. He doesn't stay up top. Do you know what I mean? He plays like a second striker.
He finds the space, doesn't he?
He finds the space. And look at Ronaldo's early career. Obviously, he was a forward, but he started off as a winger. And then Fergie made a bet with him. Can you get 21 goals? If I don't get 21 goals, I'll shave my head off ball. And that's what came the new style of striker, the inside forward. And that's the reason why Ferdinand reckons that's why, like, not seeing so many centre forwards. Centre forwards are dropping off. You're not really seeing too many Harry Kanes at the moment. And he said even Harry Kane is not your traditional number 9. And that's a dying breed, is a dying art. He said when Kane was developing, they played him as an 8, they played him as a 10, they played him as a 7, an 11. So they'll play him on the wing at certain times. So he could understand all parts of the game. And then he said the reason why Teddy Sheringham always used to get in the game is because he wasn't blessed with pace or physicality as, like, you know, some other strikers, but he had the brain, he had the intelligence. And so that's what separated him from the rest of them. And that's what Kane had. Kane had the brain and knew where to be on the pitch, could find the ball, integrate and play other balls. But going back to the point, is the number 9 dead? It's becoming a dying art. And I think this is the reason why Ange is no longer looking at your typical number 9. He's looking at forwards that can play in all 3 positions. And it's down to tactical play as well. Sometimes you want your winger to be in that forward line, and sometimes you want him to drop in the 10.
He missed the penalty tonight. No.
Oh, is it?
yeah.
In the hype, don't make Haz mad.
so
Any more of those, please.
That's the point I'm making. I think that's the reason why Ange, like, he keeps looking for this profile of player. He wants a forward that can play in all 3 positions, and that's why I think maybe that traditional number 9 is kind of dying, or there's a lack of them in the actual league. It's the kind of hard to find.
Amir.
I'll just add on to that. I think the game has changed in terms of the way it's played. You know, back in the day, you'd have a lot of 4-4-2, get the balls wide and get the crosses in, and, you know, you'd rely on those strikers being big, strong, powerful men, get their head on the ball. And, you know, you're seeing a lot more different formations these days that just have one guy up top. So, yeah, I think the game's adapted and changed. And I agree with a lot of what Ash is saying. I just think that, you know, if you do have a quality forward in there, you know, it does guarantee you goals, right? So if you have a Kane, a Haaland, you know, a Vlahovic, a Nunes, these kind of guys, a Lewandowski. You know, you've got one of those in your team. You know that if you supply him 2 or 3 chances in a game, right, he's 9 times out of 10, he's going to put a few of those away. And you're guaranteeing yourself goals. And I do think for Spurs, with Kane going, you know, no one's ever going to fill that gap. And, you know, we have struggled at times this season finding the back of the net. And with all due respect to what Richie has done, and he's had his purple patch, he's done all right. Since his surgery, and he's played all right, got some goals, but it's no way near to the level of a Kane. So for me, yeah, it's changed the role of that front forward that player, but I just think that it's such a key position in a team. You know, putting the ball at the back of the net is what the game's all about, and I think if you do have, you know, top quality in that position, you're just guaranteeing yourself goals. And for me, that's also a position that we need to be looking at, to be fair. I just don't know, you know, the market's not, you know, it's very tough at the moment. It's very, Ash, I feel you, man. I feel you. But, you know, it's going to be difficult, very difficult to find a good player. You've got a few youngsters that are doing all right, the likes of Ferguson. But again, hasn't had the best of seasons, been injured as well. So it's a really tricky one. But I don't think that the number 9 role is dead in football at all. I don't think it's a thing of the past.
I don't think David, big up Toxic Headshot. I don't think David or David, whatever you want to call him, I don't think he's a box number 9.
He's more of a winger, isn't he, Jonathan David?
He's a wide forward, like a Werner.
I don't know if you guys watched Brian Daigle on a stream the other day, but he said Spurs are really looking at him, Jonathan David.
Yeah, we are.
He's good.
Yeah.
We were linked to him before, so
Yeah.
He's a good player. He's a decent.
I don't think he's the elite striker we need, though.
I don't think his
he's not
physicality.
good enough. I don't think he's good
Yeah, I
enough.
don't think his physicality is there for me for a Premiership. But yeah.
So Mia, number 9. Do Spurs need one, or are we traditionally going away from it?
I don't know if Ange, like Ash said, is looking for that. And it's not like what Amir said, it's just that things have changed and adapted, haven't they? Because when you think City played a whole season without a number 9, right? So, like, now we're even adapting to systems where they don't have a traditional number 9 play. So I don't think it is that they're dead. I just think that it's just that it's adapted to the way we play. And Harry Kane is a very unique player because he could play the number 9, more of a traditional number 9, as well as being the creator. But you don't get that very often. Someone said Ivan Toney arguably could be one that you could say is more of a number 9, what you would say an old-fashioned number 9, which is true. But anybody else, you've got to think there isn't much of that anymore, because players are asked to do different things now within different systems. So I just think that things have changed and adapted.
Hotspur, do you think we play to Richarlison's strengths? Because like Amir was saying, back in the day, you used to have like your 4-4-2, whip crosses into the box, and you'd have physical strikers in the air, and it would score headers. Are Spurs that team where we whip balls into the box like that? Or is it more of a thing where we get to the byline, we cut it back, we get to the byline, we fireball our box, and we're tapping merchants, as some people call it?
I mean, I think you kind of summed it up. We try and walk into the net now. But I do think the number 9 isn't a thing of the past, and I have my reasonings why. I think just because there are no good top-class number 9s, or there are very few at the moment, doesn't mean that it's like dead. I just think teams are kind of adapting to the fact there isn't, and they're just saying, oh, we want more goals out of our wingers because we can't go out and buy like a top-class striker to carry the burden. Like, you know, the old saying when we sold Kane, everyone was like, well, now we need to spread the goals now because Kane's gone. Well, if Kane was still here, we'd all be saying, oh, possible to Harry Kane because he's going to net 30 goals a season. It's like at City, obviously they played with a fake number 9 for like a year or whatever, but it didn't mean that the number 9 itself had died. They brought in Haaland, and look, the guy's got like how many goals in how many games. So I don't think it's dead. I just think also at youth level, they're kind of coaching kids differently in the sense of, and by the way, I do know someone who plays like West Ham youth. This is how I know this. So he tells me that he's like one of my friend's nephews. So he tells me that they tell players to, like with Ange, I guess, to literally pass and keep possession, pass. So the whole crossing thing you mentioned, Ash, has kind of been killed out of the game as well. And obviously that's in terms of Richarlison, that's to his detriment because he's a tall striker. He's very old-fashioned. People like bookmark it as that. So because apart from Porro, we don't really have a good crosser in the team anyway. And we play with such inverted wing backs, inverted wingers, like, which I think is to our detriment. But that's another story. But I just think the traditional number 9 you could argue is dead because teams don't really play to that sort of strength. But the number 9 itself, I disagree. I don't think it's dead. I just think there's a lack of quality number 9s just in general. And I just think people think, oh, because they're just not available, they don't exist anymore. But yeah.
Cool.
Guys, I'm going to hop off because I do need to get up early tomorrow. So school runs for me.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah, take care.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Have a good
See you
evening.
later.
See ya.
Bye.
So just on that number 9 thing, so I think has kind of hit the nail on the head. So you mentioned something earlier, the Messi and Ronaldo era that went on for what, 10 years? So Pep ruined it all. This is Pep's fault, right? This is
Pep's fault,
right?
A lot of things are his fault.
Yeah, he ruined it. What he did was he said, "I can play without a striker. You don't need a striker nowadays. This is how you play." Problem was he went to Manchester City. He had Aguero, but he didn't. He then had to play without Aguero because he was always injured, right? Then he obviously had a couple seasons without him. But as has said, as soon as they signed Haaland, what did he do? He swept everything up, right? So what you're seeing now, right, and the Haaland mania has literally just kicked off in the younger generation. So what's going to happen over the next 10 years, you'll start seeing a bunch of number 9s coming back and we'll probably have a different conversation in about 10 years. And I think that's exactly what's happened. I think Messi and Ronaldo just ruined it, and that's why we're not seeing as much now. But watch this space. Haaland will bring it back. Haaland's bringing it back. You just go to places around the country and you'll find most people have a Haaland shirt, and they want to be a striker now. And I think that's what's happening because Messi and Ronaldo are gone.
Cool. I agree.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, and that's what you have to. Yeah, and if you think about the 10 years before that, like it was a different generation. You're right. It was 2 strikers.
It was all about strikers.
Yeah. This is where
I loved the phone growing up, so I always wanted to be a striker, I guess.
Yeah. And this is where Richarlison and all that came into play. But Fergie was the king of it. But then, who was the first guy to play one up front? I don't even know who it was. But then Fergie
probably Mourinho in the Premier League.
Mourinho, but we went to a defensive style.
We played with like the 4-3-3. I was the first manager I remember who played the 4-3-3. I think.
Yeah, but then that's what because it was Duff, Robin, and
he. For me, Mourinho, he was the manager also brought in the holding midfielder role. Because he brought in Makaleli, everyone started trying to copy him.
The DM, yeah. The DM
was unbelievable.
The guy was so good in it.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, look, the number 6 role, as we're calling it now, was Makaleli's role.
Literally.
And
we used to say that. I remember going to games like, who's going to play the Makaleli role? And we'll just be like, this guy. Yeah.
So it will come back. It's always one of them things. It's a recycle. It depends on the coaches and stuff. And I think once Pep basically goes, there'll be a new style, a new way to play, and everyone will forget Pep. We've gone from Fergie to Mourinho to Pep, and that's exactly how it's been, right? And a bit of Arsene Wenger thrown into the Fergie era, but even he was playing 2 up front when he first came here. Bergkamp and was it Ian Wright and Nelka, and then Henry, and then he changed it to 1.
Yeah,
as
well, like Fergie did once Mourinho came over because they were getting more success over it.
But again, right, if you're looking at all these teams that you've gone past from yesteryear that have done so well, what did they all do? They all spent big and got big, huge names in to win, right? Fergie on his last season went and got Van Persie. Do you know what I mean? And that won in the league. I think. Although, we've been tainted in the past, I think that's where a lot of Spurs fans, we get frustrated because That's so many bad signings. If you go over the 20 years, we need about 5 streams to cover each, section there. Like it's been terrible. So we need to kind of look at the transfer market and see where we've gone wrong in the past and try and fix it this summer to actually give Ange, a squad that he wants.
So I don't think, and this is going to sound really weird, I don't think the signings have been the problem. And this is where I will blame the board. They don't give it, by the time those players come in, that manager doesn't have time to work with those players. By the time that player settles, he's now playing for a new manager.
I hear that, Marlon. I hear
like
that.
Udogie, you mean like Udogie even as well? You could argue. I know he's done well, but he came obviously for Conte, and you could argue, right? Because he went on loan.
Yeah, but he's doing right.
No. I'm not saying. I know.
Like Janssen, these
the best example is the best example of this is Ndombele and Lo Celso, right? Right. They're the best example. Let's remember who was their managers. Who was the manager they were brought in for?
Conte.
Yes, they've had so many managers. Yes, Ndombele has his issues, but he hasn't had a manager to play for since he's been in a Spurs shirt. Lo Celso is exactly the same. They haven't had time to settle and play for one manager. And when you start having a rotation, there's certain players that can't do it. You don't have, not everyone is a Son, not everyone is a Harry Kane where they can go and play for different managers. Look at Højbjerg, good under Mourinho, but he's not been good ever since then. He wasn't even good.
All right. I won't have that. Højbjerg's still all right, mate. He's a decent player.
That's why Ange don't want him.
I just think we kind of moved on from Højbjerg in terms of the style.
But this is what I'm saying. You get
he's moved on himself, I think. I
think we can't keep him very much longer.
This is always going to be a problem. If you are buying players and you don't give them time to settle, and then you're sacking managers because obviously them results haven't gone well, then what you end up having is Mourinho having Poch's squad, right? He wants certain players, but he can't shift the ones that Poch bought because he plays a different style, and you don't keep to the same style.
Because you have a mishmash in the squad.
It's been a complete mishmash, and even when Poch came, the players he inherited, he inherited AVB's players. But it took him time to get there. And if you notice, there was a period where most of Poch signings were okay. And it's always going to happen.
That one window before he finished third, right? Isn't it?
With Alderweireld, Trippier, and...
That was the one window, yeah.
Was it Wimmer? I can't remember. No, it weren't Wimmer.
Wimmer joined that summer as well. Yeah. Son as well, I think. But I think with Spurs also, saying about the players, I think a lot of them come with the idea to play under like a certain manager and certain style, but at the same time, sometimes the manager doesn't even want those players. But in the player's head, they think, "Oh, I'm coming to play for Conte or something." They turn up like I'm going to give massive examples for this. For me, someone like Richarlison, because we all know Levy personally did that deal, and this comes from someone, by the way, who's defended Richarlison for ages. Mainly because I just feel like everyone deserves a fair crack, right? And not because I think he's world class or anything. I just think he's a decent player. But like, even he came to Spurs, and Conte probably thought I'm going to play Champions League football. That's why I'm signed for Tottenham. I'm going to play under Conte. Conte didn't even want him. And then obviously Conte leaves. He plays now for Ange. And obviously Ange has to play him because, we don't have many options out there, let's be honest. So he's not playing for like a manager didn't want him originally. So he falls out with him. And then he plays for like another manager who's kind of there, but you don't really fancy him that much. He's using him for now. He doesn't know, it's not good because I have no stability really since Poch.
The thing is, there's truth in what you guys are saying, right? And there is a huge issue there in the revolving door manager situation that we've had going on for 20 odd years or even longer. I'd say maybe 25. That's definitely a problem. But I think you're kind of letting the scouting team and the people behind some of these transfers off the hook. Ndombele, I don't care what anyone says. No one did their due diligence on the guy.
100%.
He's not going to be a top player anywhere ever. Simple as that. He just doesn't have the right attitude. And then you go on to some of the other players we've signed, right? Soldado, Janssen, Stiga. You can go on and on and on and on. These are just terrible players that were never going to make it.
No, but Hitchin can be blamed for some of that. But you saw the Amazon documentary and you knew he
hated transfers, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't up for the task, right? So I will give you that in some sense, right? But when I look at what's his name? The guy Poch had at the beginning, who signed Dele Alli, and well, not Dele Alli, because Dele Alli was pleased.
Paul, what was his name?
Paul
Paul Mitchell. That's it.
Yeah. You look at the signings Paul Mitchell made, right? And obviously has made a point earlier that obviously Mane and all Ronaldo were through the door, right? And there was a guy I remember on Talk Sport, right? And he basically said they bring all these players to Levy, as they would, well, not Levy, they bring them to the coach, then Levy would do the negotiating. That's where most of the transfers fell down, because if it wasn't the right price, they'd fall by the wayside. So you ended up like with the Ronaldo and Sissoko. You ended up with deals like that, and that was always going to be a problem. Now we have been told that Levy now doesn't get involved until the last minute. Now, right? That's when Levy gets involved. It should be what's his name, Paratici, negotiating the deals and the prices, and Lang now. Right, so we'll see how that plays over this summer, but it's whether Levy can get over the point of that he doesn't need to be involved anymore.
Interfering.
But also, I think the bigger issue for us is the transfer policy itself. That's my argument, because we only still go for these, like this whole Brighton model or data-driven. We're still targeting young players only.
But we're gonna. It worked. It worked on pre-Poch. That's what they're looking at.
But did it really work though? We only won one trophy in 20 years doing this transfer.
But it's not you. But you fully well know, and you have to accept that this club is not there to win trophies.
I know, but I'm saying
under
Enoch, we have been told there has been even other clubs that Enoch have owned. It is about making money, so we have to take that out to one side. Right.
So you're telling me from now, all right? You're telling me from now, then Ange ain't winning a trophy. Just.
I said when Ange.
I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, in order to change to fix this, you need to throw away this hot transfer policy. Not completely. I'm not saying don't buy any young players, right? But I'm just saying you need to buy some young players and then go out and buy like 2 or 3. Like,
look, let's be honest. Our cup run this year was poor.
Shocking.
It was absolutely shocking. Fulham away. Right, was poor. Right, you take Burnley in the FA Cup. Apart from Porro's magnificent shot, it was a poor game. And right, I'm not expecting to go through against City, not completely, but not to have a shot on target.
Yeah, it was a
very attacking team, apparently.
Yeah,
it was a pathetic performance. That
so you can't. So for me, and no manager has ever been under Enoch has ever been sacked because of their cup run.
I mean, Jose was sacked because he wanted to rest players for the finals.
Because of the league form. So you have to, you literally, you have to, like I know we're about winning trophies and stuff, but that's a complete, I know we want trophies and we want to get over that line, but we kind of have to put that to one side when it comes to talking about this stuff, because Spurs' policy right now is about signing young players, right? Because they're trying to go down that Poch route again. Because they feel like they've got the manager. But
Marlon, I'd argue even before the Poch route we were doing this. Even back in Martin Jol days, we were just buying young injured players. And we're doing the same thing.
But Martin Jol, Harry Redknapp, the attacking managers, and Poch, it all worked for. In the sense of the football that we played underneath them and the way the fans felt about the club.
It's nice to watch.
I'm going to add something to this. I'm going to add something. I've been quiet for a bit. And unless Ange is bullshitting and he is the great PR spin master of all time, hoodwinked
he is, man.
The whole Spurs fans community, right? He's coming and he's saying he doesn't want this whole top 4 thing. Like, he's kind of called the club out. He's kind of called the club out. Exactly. So
didn't he basically prove that, Ash, what we've been saying for ages, that the club just want top 4, and that they were trying to.
If that was the case, he said, "Look, we need to change this whole top 4 conversation." Do you know what I'm saying? We need to change this whole top 4 conversation. I'm a winner. Like, the way he's coming across, like he wants to win, even if he doesn't get there with us. He's coming in and he's saying, "Look, I'm a winner." Do you know what I'm saying? So, we will see. And I don't think it's one window, personally. I honestly don't think one window will tell us, "Oh, yeah, we know what Ange is about. Look, blah, blah, blah." He's going to need a few windows before we can make that complete judgment, in my opinion. That's just what I see. Do you know what I'm saying? So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how far. But anyway, I wanted to talk about this of the over the lap, because Les Ferdinand, obviously he worked with Tim Sherwood and he worked with Levy.
Hold on, before you carry on, right? So before you carry on, because you just mentioned Tim Sherwood, right?
Yeah.
Did
Stop.
anybody see?
I was like,
Did anybody see? I just wanted to get this out there. Did anybody see what he said to Cole Palmer?
What did you
no,
think?
no, I haven't seen this.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my god! So
What did he
he basically told Cole. So he was interviewing. I don't know what Chelsea game it was recently, and they were doing a thing for the Premier League on one of the South African channels. Right. This is the caliber of Tim Sherwood, right? And this is the guy we had at our club, right? He's having an interview with Cole Palmer. He basically told Cole Palmer, right, in roundabout words, "You're the best player. The rest of the players around you are basically crap."
Yeah.
Right? Cole Palmer's 20. Right, and he's got to go back in the changing room with these guys.
Yeah.
And it was, what are you doing, Tim Sherwood?
Yeah.
Seriously, you're trying to throw this man underneath the bus. To be fair to Cole Palmer, he answered it well. But carry on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'll just read some of the quotes. But basically, when he was asked why hasn't Levy pushed the boat out financially when they were on the brink of great things, he said, "I've got no idea. I think he has the reputation of being the wheeler dealer, and he has done some fantastic deals in terms of players going out at Spurs when they were ready to leave. And I think he just enjoys that part of it. He enjoys being a part of it and making that decision. He's not alone in directors and chairmen and directors being involved in parts of football clubs and that they should leave well alone. I think he's done some great deals and now he's brought in a fellow called Scott Munn, now who is set to take over the day-to-day run-ins of the football club. That's yet to be seen. He's so heavily involved in that people still go to him, and I don't see him putting down that mental down anytime soon. Scott Munn has recently come out and praised Daniel Levy of running the club. Hoddle also came out recently and said in his book that his most unhappiest time as a manager or in management was at Spurs because of the politics. And Roy Keane, that was on the show, did counter. He did come back with an opinion, and he said, yeah, but they have not won in the last 30 to 40 years. Why are they putting it on Levy in the last 10 to 15 years regarding the new stadium, as if that's all he's obsessed with? Spurs have been like that for a long time. So yeah, that was basically the gist of the conversation on the overlap. I urge everyone to go and watch it. It's not my opinion. It's Les Ferdinand that's worked at the club, and these are his words, not my words. Make of it what you want, but yeah, I thought, right, that was interesting because it's not the first time someone's come out. Is it a thing where maybe he doesn't like him? I don't know, but he's been a director of football at QPR, and
which he messed up too.
He's got, if you listen to it, if you watch it, he's got his opinion on it and why. And he said the CEO that was there said they didn't want to get rid of him; they wanted to keep him on. So give it a watch. I'm not going to say anything more, but give it a watch. It's worth a watch because he puts a lot of things into context. But yeah, what are your thoughts on this whole what Les has said about Levy?
I just throw one thing into there, right? So Gary Neville asked the question to Les, and he said, "I don't know, but I could actually tell you why." So he said, "Why, when Spurs were on the brink, did he not invest?" I'll give you one example, and one example only: Gareth Bale money. The one time he did it, he was burnt with the players he brought in.
Got scarred,
and he's never been the same since.
I disagree because he held back even when we had Renat, when we had Bale, Lennon, Van der Vaart, Adebayor, and we signed Saha Nelson that January.
Because I think that Redknapp era, we were like top of the league. We were like top of the league.
Third. I think we were 6 points off the top.
That was in March, though. That was in March. By February, March, we were like 3 or 6 points off the top. But we were actually top.
But so that was the first situation where he could have done it and he messed up, right? So what he ended up doing then for AVB,
he didn't even try though, Marlon.
No, but listen. But because he had everything was going rosy, right? And then up until that moment, everyone was asking the question of Levy. That was the first time we questioned him and went, "This is your time to invest," right? And with Redknapp's a wheeler dealer too, so you can only take so much what is being going around as well, what's being said, because Nelson and Saha are typical Redknapp signings too, right? Don't get me wrong. They are.
Yeah, you know what he said? They're
But
free
he-
transfers.
Yeah, I'll take
One's
it.
experienced, one's the other one's
Yeah.
experienced. But
But he
we
did-
really,
he-
what we know, we all know, we bid for Gary Cahill. Like that's a
Yeah,
fact.
it was Cahill
Yeah.
and
And
Suarez.
Tevez, I think, and Tevez and Suarez, one of the two,
Suarez,
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Suarez.
It was Suarez.
Right. So he saw that moment and went, "I messed up." Right. So what he did when the Bow money eventually came in,
You went ham.
But did he really go ham though? Because he
He-
just bought a load of
Seven-
players.
You know what?
with
He,
cheaper
you
si-
know what? He
cheaper-
went ham
He did.
because even afterwards, he still went and bought Lamella for a club record fee. Do you
But
know
then that 30 million though, in regards to the actual bail fee, was quite minimal though, if you think about it.
it was still like he bought the magnificent 6 or 7, and he still went and bought Lamella. And then remember, we played him in the North London derby straight away because
I know. I remember. I watched that game. But no, what I'm saying is that instead of say with that bail money, went and bought
Yeah, in
we went with like
hindsight, it
Hulk.
made
I think
sense
we went with
about
Hulk
two-
and Willian or something like that.
Yeah.
Went and dropped like 60 million on the Hulk or something. He went and bought
Basically, AVP
7
wanted-
players with that 90 million, with like say
First
10
year.
million here, 5 million. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Right?
AVP wanted Hulk and he wanted
Willian and Oscar. I think those were the three.
No, he wanted Matinho from Porto because he
That was,
played.
I think that was the window before Ash.
Are you sure?
No. It was that window. He
No,
went
it wasn't. No, the summer before we from what I remember, yeah, because I set up to 3 a.m. by the way. On deadline day, we finally agreed a fee, supposedly, on according to Sky, and they were like minutes away from signing. I had to sign that sign sheet or something. Something like that. Yeah. But he left it till like the last day to agree the fee. It was 25 million, 30 million, something like that. This was in AVB's first window. I don't know if they went for him in the second summer. When we got the bail money, I'm not too sure. But
Fair enough.
yeah, that's what I remember. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah.
Amir, what do you make of the whole Levy Les Ferdinand comments?
before you go.
Before I head off, I think a lot of ex-players have had things to say, and managers, and they've kind of praised him on one hand, and then they've also pointed out his faults on the other hand. And I just think as Spurs supporters that have been through the ringer with this guy for the last 20 years, we've also seen all those faults, and we've also seen the good side, right? In terms of the business side. We're not talking about the football here. We're talking about where he's taken the club from, I don't know what, 300, 400 million to whatever it's valued at the moment is, that's a crazy amount of profit for Enoch and Levy, right? So on one hand, can praise him for that. But in terms of the mistakes that he's made along the way, I think some of them are just unforgivable, to be honest with you. If you take some of the players that we could have got and we didn't, scrimping and saving, and I've even heard Harry Redknapp talking about Hazard.
I remember that as well. That was a
him, right?
Do you know what? Look with the Hazard deal.
Got one as well.
With the Hazard deal, right? Hazard was playing off City, us, Chelsea, and there was one
Liverpool.
Maybe
was it United?
Yeah. So Redknapp had gone to his house. He'd done all that.
They had a hotel meeting or something.
Yeah. Spurs agreed the exact same deal as Chelsea. I can vouch for this. They agreed the exact same deal as Chelsea. Hazard and his agent played everybody, and that's the reason why he ended up at Chelsea. Got nothing to do. It had nothing to do. Levy had done everything he did.
What about the Grealish? What about the Grealish one?
That's pathetic.
Grealish,
I don't know how.
Grealish, that's just a totally different category.
Okay, so
but Hazard, I'll always say with Hazard, and you just see the type of man he is. Chelsea was there. He played City, he played us, and he played. I think it was Liverpool at the time. He played everybody.
Right.
I think he waited till the Champions League final, right? And he decided to go to Chelsea.
So basically, if we'd made the Champions League that year, he was coming to Spurs. It was all done. So it had nothing to do with money. It was more to do with...
I was going to say,
and we finished fourth that year. It was the year that Chelsea won.
It was just the exactly. Yeah.
I was going to say there was one deal what he did with Modric, apparently, with was it Zagreb that he bought? Zagreb. And basically, the club said, as part of the deal, can you throw in 5 shirts for Modric? And Levy was like, yeah, I'll throw in 5 shirts. So he sent him the 5 shirts, and then on the transfer fee, he deducted the 5 shirts. That,
Nah.
No, he did do that. I think Ash is right. I think that did happen.
Surely not. If that is true, yeah, you're just.
Brother,
He did the
this
same to
man
Brad. He did
is
the same to Brad Grealish, didn't he? He did the
Listen,
same to Brad.
yo,
listen, I can't, I don't know whether that is true or false or, whatever. I'm taking your guys' word for it here. But if that is.
listen, watch the overlap here. The overlap, Les says it like, in terms of like controlling, he's like, he said
He's micromanages people.
he doesn't
That's what
think
I've
he can
heard.
take his hands off it. Like, even though David Munn is in it, not David Munn, that's his name, isn't it? Munn. Yeah, Munn. Even though Munn's in it,
Scott Munn? Is it
Scott
Scott
Munn.
Munn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though
David,
Munn's in there, Scott Munn. Even though Munn is in here, yeah, he said, boy, we'll have to wait and see. And I said it straight away. I said, boy, the way Levy is, he's so cool. When he was building that stadium, apparently, the crates, he didn't want any like red on the crates. So his own crates, he bought the actual crates. That cost millions and millions of pounds. He bought his own crates and then he sprayed them blue because he didn't want any red on the site because they're going to be there for like months on edge.
Yeah.
I got kind of rating for that though.
You got to wait for it, but I'm just showing the level of control this man is.
But
like,
isn't his office next to like the players' bit?
You want the fire extinguishers with no red on it.
Doesn't Levy have an office in a documentary? He said that he has an office next to like the manager or something, the players or something. I think.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Because if you saw in the documentary, he's even talking to Ndombele, of course, Danny. Like
No,
he seems almost too close to the players.
I think he's upstairs. I think the manager's office is down by where they walk out, and he's directly upstairs.
Oh right, okay. Because I knew it was quite near.
Top.
I can't remember. Yeah,
it's because I think Danny Rose mentions it. I'm going upstairs or something along them lines.
Daniel. Yeah.
See Daniel.
But with the Grealish thing, I remember we bid. This is pathetic, really. 5 million plus Josh Onuma on loan was his opening bid.
Man.
But that's
and people make a joke on Twitter
desperate.
about this for ages. I remember.
Villa
We just
was
say
desperate.
5 million plus Josh Onuma on loan. Used to be like,
Yeah.
and they wanted
Amir,
25
hold on,
mil.
Stop, because Amir needs to go.
Yeah, Amir, sorry about that. Yeah.
I got to love you and leave you guys. It's been a real pleasure. My first time on the Spurs Kings. Real pleasure to chat with you guys, and I'm loving the channel, loving the vibe. And I must say, I saw that intro there for the first time. And, that is real. That is really nice, man. Whoever done that, hats off to you. Brilliant.
Everyone loves the intro, and it took me like I did literally just did it because I needed an intro. Yeah, I needed an intro.
Marlon, man, you've got skills.
Thanks, man. Stop it.
Yeah, pleasure. And if any of you lot down at Luton, I'll be down there on Saturday. So
We got.
take it easy, guys.
Love, bro.
Good evening.
Cool, man. Yeah, man. I wanted to move on from this Levy chat though, because it was just a quick flash, and talk about the Richie situation, because Richie could be up for sale. If he gets 15 plus goals, do we sell him?
Yes.
I'm 50-50 about him, to be honest. Because the big question is, do you believe we'll go out and sign a top striker?
This is it. I don't know. I feel like the priority is a winger more than a forward. That's how I feel like. I don't know if they're gonna get a winger, a midfielder, and they said a centre back, and then they're gonna get a fullback, I believe, a left. I think they want to get cover for the doggy, and get a striker all in one window. I don't know, because a striker would take up a big portion of that transfer kitty budget, and like Marlon said. It is, and it's another question linked to that top 4. Are Spurs gonna get top 4? And if Villa were to get top 4, would a player look at Villa and think, "Bro, they got Champions League. I'm going to Villa instead of Spurs"? Do you know what I'm saying?
What's nothing with Villa, Ash, is they got Emery, and I think Emery's got quite a big European pedigree. I think people forget that, and I think you forget he attracted Pau Torres to Villa, which I didn't think in a million years would ever happen.
Which we couldn't do with Conte.
Yeah, for real.
I think the difference is Villa are willing to maybe push out the boat a bit more. I think
He worked
on
under
one player or something like that.
He worked under Emery. He did work under Emery, but also, like you said, because if Villa now go and win a European trophy, and they get a top 4, then players are like, hang on a second, I might go to Villa. They're winning stuff, and they're playing Champions League football. So a lot of the argument is we don't need Champions League football. We never had to attract players. We've always been able to get players without getting Champions League football. But
I think Ash though, like at least I from when I was growing up, like the Martin Joel years, I go back even to back then. This is when I was, by the way, for Levy, by the way. So I actually was on that side of the fence for like 10 years, just so people know. So I believed in this whole project thing, and I thought under Joel and obviously Ramos after that, we were going on to something. And when we made top 4, we were gonna, do that
push on,
and we didn't do that obviously on the Rent app. So I kind of lost belief because I felt like I was kind of sold a lie, really. So, but the thing is, that thing has happened under Poch, under Conte. We finished top 4, and still nothing really has changed, I would argue. But I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, we've got the stadium now," or whatever. But I don't know. Like, to me, we've even signed good players not being in. Like, I'm not saying we signed always bad players, but we're signing good players not being in the Champions League. So
the question will be
I
for
don't know.
people that use the stadium as an excuse is when Everton build theirs. Will Everton sign any different caliber of players because they've got a bigger stadium?
No, I'm not saying this is my excuse,
Yeah.
Marlon.
I know,
I'm saying
but
it's
it's-
what people
it's-
say.
yeah,
I mean, it's what people say.
It's a question to be asked because everyone uses the training ground and thing, but Everton had a new training ground. It's not as good as ours, but they're going to have a new stadium as well. This is stadiums and training grounds don't sign you players.
Hotels.
They can get you over the line.
Yeah,
They can get it over the line because if you're showing a Modric, right, young Modric, like let's take the young players. Oh, Luke, the Swedish guy, You show him that, he's going to be like, oh my god, this is absolutely brilliant. I want to come and work here for a few years, right? But say Kylian Mbappe, right? If you had the choice between Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Villa, and then Spurs, right? We'll probably be above Villa because Villa have to consistently get there, right? But Emery is a good pulling power, right? But you're looking at the cities, you're looking at the Liverpools, right? And necessarily Arsenal is 50-50 because they're not. It's Arteta, it's Lego Ed, right? So it could.
They got the Henry thing though with Mbappe,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
To be fair.
So and with the French players, it usually is the Arsenal thing because a lot of them grew up watching Henry and stuff.
and Spanish, to be fair.
Yeah, so Spurs are in that, and this is what I'm saying. When people go, we need to be signing this player, that player. Sometimes it does come down to, right? We just need to. We've messed up in the last 5 years. We have completely messed up. When we had strength to do it, we've messed up. We're starting again, right? So that's why I'm not gonna dig out them not signing a massive world-class player in the summer. I won't dig them out for that. But if they're signing someone like Werner, I will dig them out because I want to see improvement. Dragushin, right? I saw an improvement in what we already had, and I saw him to take us forward. I don't see that with Werner. Right?
Well, it's funny you say that because obviously we are linked with another player.
Yeah, go ahead.
And that player is his name is Gudmundsson. He's 26 years old. He's a second striker, says here, and transfer market rated around 22 million. So maybe he had another 10 million on that. So we're looking at around 30-40 million. Plays in that striker role, can play on the wings, can play as a second striker. Some people have even said he can play in a 10. He's played at Genoa. He's currently playing at Genoa, sorry. Got sold from Alkmaar AZ for 1.8 million. PSV played there for a stint as well as a younger player. So yeah, he's been around. In Serie A this season, he's got 10 goals in Serie A, 2 in the Italian club, Italian Cup, sorry. 3 assists in Serie A and 1 assist, so a total of 12 goals and 4 assists. That's a total of 16 goal contributions. I know he scored a hat-trick against Amir's team. That's why he ran off so quickly. And he scored a goal tonight. Apparently, it was a dope goal. Haven't seen it yet, but I will be looking out for it. So, yeah, it's no longer 9 goals. That's been updated since. I think he scored another 4 goals. So, he's got 13 goals for Iceland at the moment. People can correct me in the comments if they want. 3-5-2 in Genoa. So, they play slightly more defensive in their style of football. As you can see there, he plays in the striker role, but second striker, some people say there's this heat map all over the gaff. Predominantly, again, if you can see on that left-hand side, there's a lot of red on that area. So that tells me, again, They're kind of looking for that wing forward position, maybe that Son position. They're looking in that area. Non-penalty goals, not super high. Again, there's XG there as well, not super high on his non-penalty goals, or total shots aren't really high either, or his assists. But where he does excel, passes attempted, progressive passes, progressive carries more, should I say. Progressive carries are really high, and successful take-ons are really high as well. So those are his two standout attributes. Interceptions, funny enough, are really high. So that means he's got a bit of a football brain on him. He knows where to be to nick that ball. And then also the team he plays for, that might take into consideration why his interceptions are so high as well. Yeah, let's look at his finishing here. Gets the ball, hits it in top corner, quite instinctive, runs off the other striker. Again, comes off the good first touch, gets it out of his feet, takes a player on, loses it there, but there he's tight. It's a tidy finish, goes around the keeper, able to put it in the back of the net. Next shot as well. Next scene here, he's running at a player, goes on the outside, puts it in. Here's some of his dribbling, goes on the outside. This is what he's been touted for. His dribbling is meant to be exceptional, really good dribbler. I've read a lot of scouting reports about his dribbling, and that's his standout point at the moment. And as you can see, he likes to take the ball in midfield, and he kind of takes it on a half turn again. Have to foul him to bring him down, but he does like that a bit. He likes to get that ball, do on a half turn, and then just literally run at you. Where he likes to eat up ground, and that's why the carries statistics are so high. But here he's getting to that byline, being a nuisance, just making a nuisance, running in the middle of the pitch, just getting the ball, picking it up, go on the outside, can go either way as well. Predominantly right foot, I can see here. So he's not like, he likes to carry a lot of the ball on his right foot. But yeah, direct, runs with it, physical presence as well. So when he's running, it's quite hard to get the ball off him. He protects it quite well, but pacey and strong at the same time. So this is maybe the reason why they're looking for this type of player that can play along the front three. Passing, he's finding the balls into the box, spreading the play there, gets into the byline, looks to cut it back, nice little through ball into the box, picks the ball up, has his head up, can make a pass, intercepts, pays a forward pass. That's what you want to see. Again, looks into the box, does a nice little diagonal pass, does a little 1-2, good little possession link-up play, another good link-up play with his teammate. He likes to bring players into play in that final third, knows when to pass, good weight of pass as well, just for that shot. Long passing, he has that as well. He's able to switch to play in that instance. Little diagonal passes, something that can help us when we're playing teams, especially low block teams, when you need to open up the pitch. He's able to get that ball, first time dink ball into the top, into the channel, gets the ball, drives it to the byline, able to cross at the end of it, switches the ball again. And again, he's just got that in his locker. His passing, long range pass is really good. Crossing a little bit of an Ange ball there, getting to the byline, cutting him back, get to the edge of the box, crossing it, finding his man there, getting to the byline, crossing again, picks up the ball, switches the play, and again, gets that byline. So we've seen a little bit of that Ange ball where sometimes as well, you're on the edge of the D and you're able to cross it. He's on the corners a lot, so that tells me he's got a good cross on him, that he's taken a lot of their corners. Again, right on the edge of the box, works to whip it in, there's a diagonal, and like maybe if Richarlison was there, he would cross it into Richarlison and he would score, and has to be so happy. He'd be like, oh my days, what a great goal. Lovely ball on the edge of the box. He's able to pick him up. But yeah, crossing, that's one of his good attributes, one of his good balls abilities. Here, look at his long balls, I said before, completes quite a lot of them. Compared him to like Rafinha, Neto, Kulusevski, Chiesa, Johnson, and he's miles ahead of them. He attempts a lot more of them, completes a lot more. And that's one of his strong suits. Key passes as well, really high in his key passes, 67 key passes in the league so far. Even in the final third, you can see how he passes right there. Progressive passes, he does quite well. Again, carries, really good, just behind Kulusevski. Obviously, Kulusevski's elite at carrying. It's just with Kulusevski, he holds onto the ball a little bit too long, in my opinion. But in terms of carrying the ball, Kulusevski's really good. But he's second, just behind him. Neto not far behind either. Again, receiving the ball under pressure, really good at that. He's able to do that. But yeah, that's him. There we go. But yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on Gudmundsson.
I mean, I haven't seen him play, and I haven't seen his goal tonight, so I can't really say, definitively. But he would improve us like 100% from the clips you showed. I see him more as like a number 10 from the clips I've seen so far. I mean, I haven't sat down and watched him for a game, but I just think if we play him wide, I think we'll still have the same issues like we have with Kulusevski. So this is why I was in the camp from day one to move Kulusevski into the middle. It's kind of like a mirror to me of the same situation. So if you're going to bring him in, just play him in the middle. But you won't play him in the middle because you've got Maddison. So I mean,
but Maddison got injured. We know that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, do we sell Kulusevski and bring this guy in? That's what it seems like to me.
Kulu ain't going nowhere. Ange loves him.
And we just signed Kulu as well. So I don't see Kulu going.
I just think this is the thing with Ange's system, right? I think in order for it to succeed, you need 3 like elite attackers in the front 3. If you don't, we're just going to keep seeing the same results. Because you need players who can also not only. This is why we talk a lot about the wingers scoring goals as well, because you need all 3 of them to be hitting like, say, you get 20 from the striker, maybe 15 from each of the wingers or something like that, because we play so attacking that it's just they have to score. If we don't score,
and then that takes the pressure off the defense, and that's been the big key thing this year, and I think that's what no one's really looked at. But the fact we are on course to concede the same amount of goals as we did last year, if not worse,
with a better defense, really,
with a better defense, yeah. And we're ultra attacking. It's because our wingers are not doing enough up top. And our midfield is like, our midfield's all right. Like, I'm not going to sit there and if this is the same midfield we've got next year, I won't bemoan it, right?
Exactly,
but the front 3,
it's true.
For me is the key, and I think we're a 3 away from from locking that gap. I think injuries and stuff. I just think we need number 9. We need two wingers, and Johnson to be back up to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think Gudmundsson's having a good season. Last season had a decent season as well. Has played on a wing, has played up front, and has played on like both wings, to be fair, and has played as the 10. So I think that's the reason why they are looking at him.
Probably, yeah.
He covers a lot of positions where we need. He scored 10 goals so far this season. Still got another 10 games to go in the Serie A. So, and he is playing for a team that's not on the front foot. You've got to remember that. So I think that's what they're looking at. The only problem or an issue I have is that he is 26. So he's in his prime now. I know he's killing it at Iceland. Iceland, he's like their main guy. But let me read this comment because Marlon's brought up. Hi, Ash. Would it work with Son, Rafinha, and this striker you have showcased in the front 3?
It's a good one.
I think personally it would, because this guy has played on the left, in my opinion, and Rafinha plays on the right, and I think that's an improvement on what we have. And I said at the start, because you guys were saying like, you don't give Ange a chance in terms of like he's a PR man, basically, is what you were saying. I think he needs windows, and I think it'll be the start of a good window, a good intent of a window, if we were to have a Rafinha and this kid on the other wing. I think it would show a slight improvement on what we have already, and then having like a Brennan Johnson coming on and doing bits rather than having a Werner. Than this guy, because Werner, he's not gonna produce for me.
But the problem you've got is you keep, like you've said it a couple of times, that it's going to take a few windows. The problem that you've got with it taking a few windows is that because we've done so badly in the last couple of windows, the other teams that are in front of us are not going to stand still. We're talking like we've got to improve and still maintain and catch up to them. But if they're improving too, we're still going to be lagging behind because of the bad business we've done before. So there's going to have to be a window, right, where they catch up. Unfortunately, because they've made the mistakes.
I'm looking at Manchester United, and yes, they are in a position where they possibly could get 4th in their worst ever season. However, I feel that would be papering over the cracks. I think there's fundamental flaws in Manchester United's season moving forward. I don't think their style of play is sustainable if they want to push on to kind of, go for the title, because that's what Man United do. They want to go for the title. They don't care about FA Cups or League Cups. They are tight. They want the big ones, Champions League or league titles. Are they close to that? No. Chelsea, I don't think they're anywhere near. You know, they will improve. Will they be in the league? Will they get points deduction? I don't know. I don't know how serious that is. Will they find a way to figure out? I don't know.
I think, with Chelsea, I think their biggest thing is actually if they get where they can't, obviously they can't sign any players at the moment and they need to sell.
This is it.
I think the benefit for them is that that's going to happen because they have to get rid of half that dressing room. And I think Poch will be the right man to take if he has his 11 and then mediocre players.
I just think it's going to
mediocre.
Man U and Chelsea, I think we're further ahead in our project, even though Ange has only been there for 8 months. I think he's further ahead than what Poch is, in my opinion, in terms of like influencing the players. Because I think that's a big thing in terms of football.
You got to remember though, Poch didn't have. So you say further along, but with Ange and the way the club's working, he didn't. And Poch didn't have a Man City at the time. You got to remember, he didn't have a Man City. He didn't have a Liverpool.
Even Arsenal weren't that great.
Even Arsenal weren't that great. Poch came in, and we didn't have to improve as much as we have to improve now because that window.
City, United,
I'm not
Chelsea,
talking about them.
even Chelsea.
I'm not talking about them.
Yeah, but you can't sit there.
I'm talking about Poch now. I'm talking about Ten Hag now.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Ange where we are now. I'm not saying like, I'm saying what they have to do and what we have to do is two different things. I think we'll still be ahead of them, in my opinion. And because you're talking about every other team's improving, and those are the teams. Even Newcastle I put in there. Yeah, they're another team. They need to improve, but they're stuck right now. I can't really see Newcastle getting above Spurs, in my opinion. Do you know what I'm saying? So the other teams I'm looking at are the teams ahead of us, which is Arsenal and Man City.
How about Villa though?
Villa. I have to wait and see. It's a techie one because I just honestly think.
Yeah,
go on.
Right, you've mentioned there, right? So you've mentioned City, Liverpool, and Arsenal. Forget them for a second. So we've got to try and catch up to them. Right. But if we looked at last year, right, we were trying to catch Brighton and Newcastle, right? They've gone down, but who's then suddenly the surprise package this year? Aston Villa. Right, so you're going to get another team next year that's going to have probably a decent summer window, right? And it might be Brighton. Let's take Brighton. Brighton might have a decent summer window, and they'll catch up to us again, and we'll be stuck in the same place because
I don't think Brighton will finish above Spurs.
No, yeah, but we don't know this because
he's like, no.
But you would have told me last year that Villa weren't finishing above Spurs this season.
Villa.
This is what I'm saying. So every year, there's always new teams that we have to.
I agree with you. But look, at the end, Villa's a different one because I don't know whether we will finish above Villa or not because of Villa's situation, their cup competitions. Do you think Villa, hand on the heart, are going to finish above Spurs? Is that what you're saying?
I think they easily could.
I think they can, but do you think they will? It's a different.
I think we're finishing 5th, so I think they will.
So I thought, like honestly, I don't think we'll make top 4. I think we'll just something will go wrong along the way. We'll just probably get.
I just have this feeling that we're going to finish 4th. I think because they've been trying for so many years. I mean, even from like the past and Martin O'Neill. I'm not mad if we finish 5th either. I'm not mad if
we need to keep clean sheets over the next few. Like, if we don't start keeping clean sheets, then no. We've been good enough to finish 4th. Don't get me wrong. And Ange has done like wonderful things. He's got the fans back on side. But actually, when you look at it as a whole, and I have to bring Conte into it, it's not much different to last year, except we're playing beautiful. Some people argue
beautiful. That's a bit.
No, we were playing great football.
We're playing attacking football. That's
we're playing on the front.
Did you not enjoy the football? Is that what you're saying? Were you not enjoying it?
What I'm saying is that
I know it's a different style because you can enjoy Conte's football. Like you can enjoy football.
But my question to you is why is it Conte's football wasn't sustainable, but yet
Ange's
is, but yet we've conceded a crap load of goals in both scenarios.
I actually think Ange's football isn't sustainable because it's way too open. I think it's reckless. I've been saying this for weeks, like on the Fridays.
But that's the media narrative. When you're playing attacking football, it's just like look.
No.
You've used a great example because you use Man United as a great example, right? And people are like, but Ten Hag's system's not sustainable and all this stuff. But Man United are doing exactly what they did last year. He's just not playing the Ajax way, right? But why is it when it's a bit more negative, people go, it's not sustainable?
It's
It works.
because of you got to put the human element into it. I think because when you're a footballer and you're playing a certain style of football and you're not enjoying that style of football, I can tell that the United fans, especially like Rashford, he don't want to play that back foot football. He's not enjoying it. And I think that was the difference between us. We were playing that similar style of football and you could see the lift of the players. It felt like the shackles had been released. And that's the reason why we were kind of playing the way we were against these teams. Some people would argue, we wasn't that great against in the first 10 games, but I disagree. I think we were. I think a lot of people, like some people say, Man United, we conceded all those chances. I think, yeah, we conceded chances, but we actually took those chances in the second half. And overall, I thought we played better than them.
Yeah,
and the game. I thought because
but you will get opponent. Yeah, but you will get games like so. Let's take Fulham, right?
Yeah,
we conceded way too many chances in the first half.
Yeah,
and they hit us to the sword. West Ham, right? Yes, we played better, but we conceded chances. You're going to come up against teams, and we're going to come up against a lot of those teams in the Premier League.
Comes down to
where you're going to concede.
I agree with you. The front three. That's what.
This is why I know Mon says on earlier stream with me saying that the front three is like the most important because if they're not elite players, the system ain't going to work.
Yeah, the front three have to be elite. The front three have to be elite. I don't want to say elite, but the front three have to fire because the front three we've had so far haven't worked.
They have to be. Look, so let's take Celtic, right?
Oh, Liverpool. Liverpool's the best example.
Yeah,
but Liverpool's not a good example because Liverpool don't play as open as us.
I think they do. I disagree. A lot of Liverpool fans come up to me. They're like, listen,
they're more compact.
At the beginning of the project, not right now, but I think at the beginning of the project, they look at Spurs and were like, we were there once. We were like, Jurgen, drop it back a couple yards. Jurgen, why are we so high? Jurgen, this is going to be, we're too open, blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I'm saying? And then they got used to it. And then finally they started implementing the players. And then they were like, okay, we see what's going on. We see what you're trying to do. So because we're at the beginning of this process, it's really hard to see us concede these type of chances because we're way open. It's like,
I think the only difference, Ash, though, is that you look at Liverpool's style is that they didn't play inverted fullbacks. Because what you're doing with those, it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, by the way. It's just it's a system thing that Ange obviously likes. You're overloading the middle. But then you look at our way we play, we overload the middle even more with the wingers. So we end up playing so narrow. I think with Liverpool, they played a lot wider. Okay, they were high as well. But what it is that I found their defense was a bit more, in my opinion, more compact because you're playing at least with a 4 in a line. With the Ange thing, you're basically pushing the 2, and you're essentially playing 2 or 3 at the back. It'll be like 90% of the game.
And it'll be interesting.
The rest defense is 2. And Liverpool did play with rest defensive 2. And I've seen Arsenal play with
but the question,
2. But they've recently switched it. And Man City. They've all recently.
The question is to all this because you're saying we're conceding chances and everyone's getting big. We've conceded how many goals? And we're still not defending very well. So you can sit there and go, but that's all the thing. But we've conceded way too many goals this season.
The team cohesively.
But it would be interesting. It would be interesting to see how much Liverpool conceded in their first season compared to what we have under Ange.
Should I Google it?
Right? Yeah, because why? Because you can sit there and go, but we're getting scared because we are conceding, but we actually are conceding goals too. We're not just not. It's not a case of and I get your point because Liverpool do.
But it's not down to. I would say not down to our centre backs because I'd say that's down to Porro, Udogie inverting. Then they're meant to stop that first press, if that makes sense. So they need to do a little bit better in stopping that press. Obviously, you've got Son pressing from the front. You've got Maddison pressing, and then you've got the other winger, whether it be Kulu or whoever's playing on the right or whatever, they're meant to press in it and they're all meant to press cohesively. But then that after that first line of defense, it's meant to be Udogie, Porro. They're meant to stop that second wave and stop it from progressing. And when that breaks down, that's when it's like, fuck.
So they scored 63 and conceded 50. Sorry, I'm just looking at it.
In the first season.
Yeah.
And where are we at now? I think we're over 50, right?
Must be over 50.
Yeah, we're definitely over 50.
So yeah, so there's your issue straight away.
Check
Yeah.
it. Hold on.
But you have to look at it like that. Like you can't.
Oh, we've conceded 42 actually.
Yeah,
Anyway.
40. So another 8, and if we
That's
concede
it.
more-
Another.
We'll be on course
We've
for
got 10 games left, so we're
So,
going to concede
yeah,
another
so
8
you-
goals.
we'll be on course for like a season where we've been a lot more open. But like you guys said, when
We're gonna take
Liverpool
£100 million defender.
no, when Liverpool coming up, when Liverpool
You could argue our defense is probably better than Liverpool's were back then, though.
no, yeah, they were. We are. Let me land.
On paper.
Let me land my point.
Yeah.
Stop chatting rubbish then.
I was on the show, bro. I'm petty.
Sorry, I'm just looking at tables. Yeah, I'm just spinning up.
I was mad petty, bro. You lot said that back then there wasn't an Arsenal like they were now. There's more competition. There wasn't a Man City like Pep's having a Man City right now. Do you understand? There wasn't your Brightons. There wasn't your Newcastles. There wasn't your Villas. The league's a lot more competitive. There's a lot more managers in there that now they know how to figure it out and they know how to beat the Gegenpress, the high press, etc., etc. So you're having to be a lot more tactically smarter. So comparing Liverpool back then to what we're doing right now is almost obsolete because you've got to take that into context. It's not just black and white. Oh, look, they conceded 50. We've conceded 42, 8 goals left, blah, blah, blah. It is a process. I do understand what he's trying to do. And it's my Liverpool people that are telling me. It's not even like, they're like, bro, trust me. I know it looks mad right now, but we can see what he's doing. Like, and it's mad because obviously we've gone from one extreme to the other. And the narrative is like, because we're playing attacking football, everyone's just happy all of a sudden. No, it's more than that, bro. It's more than that, man. Them, you get it? It's like that you could tell from the players, like Romero looked like he was ready to leave. Richarlison looked like he was about to start balling. You know what I'm saying? I get it. When you're playing for a manager and you're fucking, you can't move, you can't have that freedom. You don't enjoy your football as much, and you can't be on the front foot as soon as a goal goes in. Because remember, we were defending in a low block, but we were getting peppered. We were conceding.
But then the defense we Conte had was so much worse than the one we had.
It was. But imagine Mickey van der Ven in a low block. You just cut his tail off. Imagine Madison in the midfield too. What's he really doing? We had if all right, check this before you come in, Marlon. If Conte was in charge right now, he wouldn't be playing Sarr. I guarantee you. He wouldn't be playing Basuma. You know why? Because they wouldn't have got that chance. Højbjerg and Skip would still be playing. I'm telling you.
Bentancur, if he was fit.
Bentancur will play 100%.
Yeah.
But for the majority of the season, because Bentancur's been in and out, let's not get it twisted. And he hasn't been up to par. Højbjerg and Skip would still be the midfield too, bro.
No, you hear the ball someone to replace.
He wanted McGinn at midfielder, actually.
Yeah, he would have bought a midfielder. But I forgot what I was going to say now. You made me forget.
I'd even argue that because we had Destiny back and Porro, he probably played better wing. It would have better wing backs.
Oh, I know what I was going to say to you though, because you're talking about how happy they are. Yeah, they're all happy now, right? Because they've just gone from Conte football. We've had a season where they've gone out of 2 cups without saying nothing, and they've been playing 1 game a week. What happens when you get Europe next year? There's more injuries. There's more people that are going to have to miss out.
This is why
it's going to be more. It's going to be more tough on them. You'll start seeing unhappy players. You'll start seeing Brian Hills come into the squad, and that family atmosphere that he's created will suddenly be gone because there's more games to play.
This is why it's the beginning of the project. We're in like year 1. I don't think he'll be in 2 years. But I personally think the 3rd year, that's when it comes together. All this cup talk, everyone was gassed. Oh, we're going to get a cup. We're going to move in the cup this season. Oh, next season, we're going to win.
But then, Ash, Arteta won a cup in his first season,
bro. Huh?
Arteta won a trophy in his first season.
Oh, that's Arteta. Why are we doing that?
Shut up with that Arteta.
And also,
I don't even rate Arteta.
That was Emery. That wasn't even his team. What are you talking about? That was Emery's team.
To be fair, he only had to look. He had two non-league sides, and then he only had to beat Chelsea and Man City in the semis and final.
Just Man City. Just Man City.
Yeah,
Rather than just Man City. Yeah.
But he had to beat Frank Lampard's Chelsea and Man City.
And Manchester City.
Yeah, but let's be honest. They had two non-league teams in that cup run behind closed doors.
But we didn't even try for the Carabao Cup, though.
Yeah, so imagine how easy that
COVID season.
One game.
COVID season.
Yeah.
They won FA Cup. We can't count that. It's COVID season, man. Come on, get out of there, man. But anyway, I just think
it don't count. The Liverpool's title don't count now.
Oh, brother. Yeah, Liverpool's. Yeah, I said it. Yeah. Anyway, did I stutter? I don't think like we're winning the cup next season. I'll be honest with you. I don't think we're winning the cup next season. I honestly think.
Harry Scarf, if you're watching this, listen to what Ash said. Sorry.
Not with European football.
Nah, yeah, not with Europe. Like, come on, let's be realistic.
Because
man.
you think, all right, and this is the big
Set
thing.
yourself up for a fail.
The squad is getting injured now with one game a week. What's going to happen when they start playing 2 games a week?
I honestly think though the injuries, I think will improve because I think it was a shock to the system. All that running, like, rah, man's the hamstring. So
Van der Ven's gonna be dead, man. Next
Van der Ven's not going to improve.
Celtic's first season, they had this like bare injuries. The second season, their bodies caught up and they were slightly better. But I'm not saying like raw. I'm not saying like all of a sudden our injuries are going to stop happening. I'm not saying that at all.
But no, if you take Klopp,
the context.
If you take Klopp, it took about 3 seasons before those injuries suddenly stopped and died out.
That's what I'm saying. I'm giving it 3 seasons personally. 3 seasons. I think. But that's
one thing I'll argue though against this whole comparison is that a lot of Spurs fans will look at our defense and say this is the defense we'll have for the next 3 years anyway. With Klopp, we went and bought a goalkeeper, and the same with goalkeeper really for us. A goalkeeper and a centre half, and among like Robertson.
Apparently, we are looking at centre half. We are actually looking at a centre half.
No, but I'm not saying we won't buy a centre half. But I'm saying the centre half that will come in will most likely just be a squad player because they'll probably put. Yeah. So the first choice back 5 will not change. I don't think. So
I hope it's a player that kind of pushes pushes or can walk in when.
I really want Bramford at Everton personally, but
bring back Modric.
but listen, I just think that I just think we need time. And I just feel like the fan base, we don't have that time. The fan base is so impatient. I think that's why we're so divided. Like if everyone was like, you know what, brother.
But Ash, bro, how long was since we won a trophy?
Forget that because it's not that.
Let me answer real quick. I think if we win a trophy, that doesn't mean anything. We could win. No. Listen. Hear me out. I think if we win a Carling Cup next season, what we do in the next season? You know, like people think we're going to kick on and start winning bare trophies. What happens if we just win that Carling Cup and then that's it? That'll be dead. That'll be so dead if we don't kick on. Don't get me wrong. I'm starving for a trophy, but what if? How dead would that be if we just win 1 cup and in the next 3 years we don't win a cup? What was it for? Because the whole point of us winning a cup was to build on it. But what if we don't build on that? Well, go on, Marlon. Go on.
I forgot I was going to say now because you mentioned cup and I never use cup as an excuse, right? Because I couldn't care. Look, at this present moment. Oh, no, I was going to say. So yeah, the problem you've got, Ash, right? And you're saying to wait 5 years, not 3 years, 3. Yeah, but you're saying wait 3 years, yeah. But unfortunately, Levy doesn't have 3 years.
No, he doesn't.
And that's the problem. A lot of Spurs fans are going, well, you've just told us to wait. You gave us a 5-year project under
listen.
Didn't get over the line. Then you've asked us to wait again. So we're now into a 10 year.
Forget Levy.
But that's 10 years. But you can't because in this situation that you're asking for patience, that's 10 years now.
Patience.
No, you're
asking us to be patient.
You just said you're asking us to be patient. We have to.
I did, but no. But what I mean, let me clarify. Sorry, I apologize.
We're digging you out now, man.
Let me clarify. I'm talking about Ange. What I see, I think if he's going to get it right, 1 season, 8 months, or 2 seasons, and we're expecting trophies, like what are we doing here? Really?
But then, Ash, I think what Marlon's coming from is that, say if we finish 4th like 5th this season, I don't know, just or 6th this season, just out of I'm just talking like just theoretically, and the season after that we finished 6th again. Will Levy just sack him because we didn't finish top 4? That's the question.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap. But
it should be, because he's got to be patient too, right?
yeah, he's got to be patient too. He's got.
This is why I go back to what Mr. Box Office said, and I'm sorry, man. Like Alex is top notch with these sort of things. Yeah, like he's not backing Ange until we go for like the gutter, or I don't know how he phrased it, as in we have a really bad run, and the club, instead of the club sacking him, like the scenario I gave you just now, they back him. They don't sack him. They say, look, we're carrying on this project. And another thing I want to bring up what she said, which I think was very important, because a lot of you compared how other teams might improve. We'll have a surprise package next season. We still got to keep up with where we are now, plus go up another level. Alex, Mr. Box Office, shout out to him, by the way. Get to know. He says he argues we need to sign like 9 players to go up another level, plus keep up with where we're already at, because of teams that will catch up with us, like the Chelseas. Obviously, other teams as well, like Marlon talks about surprise packages. If Villa stay the same level, or maybe even better, like you got to take into consideration all these other teams that might come close to our level we're at now, plus teams that might even go higher, like Arsenal. The way they're going, they're going to be miles ahead of us.
Villa can see. I think a big up to Box Office, but listen, the only thing I disagree with him on is he wants us to do the Arsenal route. I don't think that's the blueprint. We have to be bad before we're good. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, he's not saying that. He's saying as in when we're bad, because like the scenario I gave just now about finishing 6th 2 years in a row, or 7th, whatever. Levy might see that, because we know Marlon argued earlier in the show that he ain't top 4, yeah? So, like I've seen with previous managers, he's just going to sack him. Or he's going to back him and say, look, we're not just going for top 4, we're sticking with this manager because we want more than that. I think that's why.
And I agree with
Alex says that.
I agree with that. Like if it does get techie, they have to stand by their man.
Even if I'm sitting there saying Ange out, they be like, don't listen to Harry, we're keeping Ange.
Exactly. Stick by him and say whatever. Like this is the guy we believe that he's going to get us to the next whatever, or we're going to achieve stuff with this guy. So I agree with what you just said and what Box Office said. Like no matter what happens, they can't like all of. But
is the Arteta model though? Because you just said you don't want us to go to Arteta. That is the Arteta.
No. I'm going to say I'm not saying. I'm saying like we don't have to. That shouldn't be.
We kind of have to, because that's what I just said.
Because no. Because I look at Liverpool as a blueprint then. So like Liverpool, they didn't have to go through necessarily a shaky time before they went up to the next level. They just got Klopp.
They did go through a shaky time with Klopp.
They did.
But not to the Arteta extent.
They did.
Arteta extent. What
they finished outside the top 4 for 2 years?
Were they Klopp out though? That's what
they were Klopp out. When they lost, especially after the Europa League, I think it was the
Europa League final.
Talksport was inundated. That's why it's quite funny to see when they were crying recently, because I remember the beginning times when he was losing finals. Before he won that league, people wanted Klopp out the season before.
Oh, fair enough. I'm stand corrected then.
But Ash, I actually want to be wrong. I know it sounds fucked up, but I actually want to be wrong. Like, I'd rather not sit here and say in 2 years, we're 6-6, go and sack Ange.
We would love a happy ending.
But the patience you're asking for, right?
It's just not going to happen, I don't think.
The problem you've got is that there's been a burnt 10 years of being patient. So you can't, like, and this is the thing, and that's the thing that's not working against Ange, because I think a lot of people that don't have the patience, it's not the problem with Ange.
Yeah, it's like me, basically. Yeah,
it's basically the sense of seeing the club actually stick with something and actually go through with it, and that's all that needs to happen, right? Yeah. But unfortunately for us, right, we're going to have these arguments back and forth.
No, I agree.
I agree with you, Ash, but disagree at the same time. It's hard to really explain.
It's hard to disagree that if you don't stick, there's no point chopping and changing. We're not Chelsea. That doesn't work for us. We can't cut that man out and then get another manager. We don't buy players like that for managers. And even if we did, like you said earlier, Marlon, by the time we buy a player, a new manager's come in, how's that player getting ready to settle? It doesn't make sense. So
and players need to settle, because Modric didn't come in and Gareth Bale didn't come in and be amazing when they first both came in.
It was Redknapp got the best out of Modric originally.
Redknapp got the best out of Modric, and I would arguably say AVB got the complete best out of Bale. Bale was good under Redknapp, but you have to give. We have to give these players time, but you have to give them time under one manager. So, and that for us, we haven't really had that. So it'd be great if this board, and this is where I do agree with Alex slightly, when we do go through that bad period, when we're losing 5 games in a row,
and we're screaming our heads off on these streams,
and all of us are moaning on these streams. That's what we're doing.
Well, Fulham, imagine. So imagine 5 games on the back. Hey.
Look, put it this way. Say after Luton, right? Because the tough games are after Luton, and say we didn't win one of them. We didn't win one of those games after Luton, right? Right? Let's say we lost to Luton as well, but say we didn't win a game after that. We'll beat Forest. Okay, admittedly, I think we'll beat Forest. But say we just literally won 2 out of 8, 2 out of 10. The club would have to stick with Ange and know, actually, we saw what was going on this season. We can see the blueprint. Let's go and get you the players that's going to get you over that line for next year and get you at least competing or as close to that top 2.
But then, Marlon, I'd argue that you'd need to kind of see that 2 years, as in, this is why I say in terms of Alex, when we mentioned Klopp or Arteta, because they did go through 2 years where they weren't really
of course.
doing it. And the reason I say 2 years at Spurs specifically is because I've seen managers at Tottenham, we saw a 2-year thing, where they'll finish 6th in the first season. The next season, they won't make 4th and they get sacked. I've seen it so many times.
And that's the thing. I think we need to get, and I think Levy needs to get past his full spot business. I think he needs to get past it. And
it's his own thing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it's him. And he's created that mentality at the club. So once he can get past it and be like, say Ange finishes 5th this year, and say we were to finish 8th next year, right? But actually the football's still good. The fans are still on side.
This is it.
We have like a cup run or something. I don't know.
And we have say we have a cup run next year.
This is it. Right. Okay.
But Levy has to then not pull that trigger, because all it's going to do is when it gets bad, the fans are going to go bang.
Exactly.
You're out. And that goes for all of us and all of our streamers as well.
It's true, because you will hear Levy out. If we were 8th, Levy out. That's what you will hear. But they need to stick by Ange no matter what.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's what Alex is basically saying, I think, in his own words. Yeah.
Unless we sign Brendan Johnson and Werner.
Timo
Werner, and then Stelz Levy out.
Stelz Levy out because Timo Werner comes in. He's done with the project. That's what he said.
He's done with the project. He's done with the project.
I can understand that, because for me, it's kind of just saying this is just another typical Tottenham signing. Like, we'll just find cheap. I'm done with being managers out. I don't care if it was Nuno, I don't care if it was Conte, and I don't care if it was Mourinho. They weren't my first choices, but at the end of the day, I need to see more than 18 months. That's what I want to see now. That's my next thing. I just want to see a manager last more than 18 months. I want to see a 3-year project at least. I don't care if we finish 12th, something like that. But am I thinking that we're going to win a cup? No.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and go, Levy's. I'm not sitting there going in the back of my mind that Levy's all great as well.
Listen,
it has to be that happy medium.
Just to add to that, there's nothing wrong with what Marlon said, because some people would take what you've said and say, "Oh, that's negative," and what are you talking about? Blah blah blah. I'm leaving this channel. You know what I mean?
I'm leaving this channel.
Unsubscribe. Brother, what you're saying is, look, sometimes there are silver linings after those dark clouds that come across, but we just need to get through it. And Ange even said it himself. There'll be a couple bumps in the road. Why is it when there's bumps in the road, we start moving mad? And that's what I was trying to say.
It's kind of like
wrong word.
An analogy.
Wrong word.
Like, you know, like with Levy with Spurs, it's like we go for a rough patch with a manager. It's like a rough patch in a relationship. He decides, "Nah, I'm done." It's like, rather than go through the rough patch and at the end of it, it's all solved. But
I think that's why he's been married twice, right?
This is worse than that. This is like having a gal coming over and looking for the bedroom and be like, "Bro, what's he saying though? What? Disrespectful. Hey, you little bitch. Hey, you're moving wild." Imagine that. I think that you're on. She comes and starts stroking Marlon's face.
She's got good taste, isn't it?
We're fighting, bro. Hey, listen, me and you were scuffing. I don't care.
Why are we fighting for? Why fighting for? If she's look, she's no good for both of us, right? That's what we need to understand.
That's
She's no
true.
good for both
That's
of us.
true. That's
We
true.
need to.
I agree
We
with that.
both need to go. You know what? This ain't for us. Move on to the next.
But like, as in, like, it's just like he doesn't. This is why I think Ange's comment is kind of like some people agree with what he said in the sense of me saying top four is like shouldn't be the be all end all. But then the club itself has to prove this as well, not just Ange saying it to the press. Because someone like me, he's a massive skeptic. Just takes this as like, oh, this is just a PR line that he's been told to say to keep the fans on side or something because we lost 4-0 to Fulham. Not because, you know, this is what he truly believes. Like, you can be conspiracy theorists, but it's just everything I hear from the club right now is I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Just prove it, like in either buying the players or.
I'm done with
nothing talking. Let's get the doing.
Get down to business. Do you know what I'm saying? I agree, man. I agree. I don't really like to hear the talking either. I like to see the actions, but I just don't go super reactionary when things don't quite go the way.
It's just my only issue with Ange is that he doesn't tweak it. That's the thing.
You heard it here first. Ash is crap for YouTube because he needs to be reactionary.
Yeah,
for YouTube, bro. I don't even want to be a YouTuber. How about that? Just an ordinary. God, this YouTube thing, man. End the stream, man.
Oh, do you know what? We need to end anyway. But do you know what?
That was good, man. I enjoyed that, to be honest.
Everyone in the chat, let me thank the chat first. You guys have been amazing tonight. Considering it was no game, there's not really much to talk about. But yeah, Spurs always bring up conversation. Everybody in the chat, you've been excellent. Loved every minute of all of you. It's always down to you lot why we go longer than we should. But thank you to everyone. I won't even special mentions, but you know who you are. If you've been in the chat tonight, chatting and giving us questions and stuff like that, thank you very much. Because during international break, you make this show last. You're back Friday?
Yeah, back Friday, yeah.
Jeez.
For another 3-hour argument stream, probably again.
You, TJ, and Harry.
Hey, listen. I actually want that on here at one point. I don't know if you guys would be up for it. I would love all three of them. All three of them here because I want to promote the show more. I think it's such a good show.
Has to be the weekend.
You can really check it out.
Yeah, because you need to have time on your hands, unfortunately.
Ash, if you want it, you're gonna have to do a Sunday night with them.
Okay.
Because Harry can't do weeknights.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So you're gonna have to do a Sunday night. But yeah, TJ has and Harry be back for the preview show on Friday to preview Luton. That's why we haven't gone for it tonight because they'll be back on Friday.
7 o'clock as usual. Yeah.
Are you? I believe you and Harry might be hosting the match reaction on Saturday as well because I'm.
Yeah. I need to double check. I should be able to do it, but I need to. I think Newcastle I can do 100%, but I need to double check about Luton. Yeah.
Cool. But because I'm on We Are Tottenham TV Saturday.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So just need someone to host it. Has is at the minute taking a break. The other has
with an S. With an S.
With an S. Right. He's still a part of this channel.
What did you not do to him, man?
I just love him, man. He's got
joking.
Personal life's taken over. And look, I've said to him,
he's got a mortgage and 3 kids coming.
He's not there yet. But look,
no, he's grinding, isn't it?
He's grinding. He's doing some business. He'll be back soon. As soon as. So just sending has some love as well because he might feel like we don't love him, but he's still part of this channel, so he's still around. Ash, what you got coming up tomorrow?
I don't like to talk too much, so you'll see. You'll see.
There's a rival show tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a rivals going on. Rivals again. It's all going on, and like we got the title talk to come in. So, we'll be talking about the preview of Man City at the Etihad taking on our first rival.
Good Super Sunday, man. Yeah.
So yeah,
Man City can have many players. It's great.
Yeah.
You know what? I still think Liverpool going to win the title. I don't know why. I've been saying this since day one. Yeah.
I said it from day one as well.
Yeah.
Let's hope so, guys. Let's hope so.
As long as Arsenal don't win it.
I hope you're right.
Spurs Kings TV might have to shut down for the year for Arsenal win the title.
I probably won't turn up to work for like 3 months because I work in bloody Islington.
That's it. That's good skill, man. Random. But yeah, man. So we got that coming up, and yeah, man. Look out for us, man. Look out for us. We've got more things coming up.
Happy with the supermodel.
Oh, you gotta love it, TJ.
I actually love our Friday shows a lot, man. It just ends up being like just mayhem.
So yeah, Ash back tomorrow. Preview show Friday. Match reaction Saturday.
Is anything on Thursday or not?
No. We'll back tonight, and then obviously with a lot of games coming up. I think next Tuesday. When do we play West Ham? Next Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday the 4th? No, wait, hold on. The second of April.
So next
2nd of
Tuesday.
April, yeah.
So next Tuesday.
Is it next Tuesday? Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So the Ashmatic Analysis show will be missing for a week.
That's gonna be, you know what? That's gonna be a hard watch, man. Yeah. West Ham away.
But yeah, Ash, do you like, subscribe, comment as you like to?
Yeah, man. Let's sign off, guys. Once again, people at home, silent watchers. If you're watching this back on the later on, if you're not watching it live, big yourselves up. Thanks for watching. First of all, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Put a notification bell on, guys, because a lot of shows on here, a lot of things coming up. So make sure you don't miss out on that. But yeah, big ups to all the guests. Big up Amir from Tottenham away, and Israel Uncovered. Big him up. Big up Mia from Spurs Between the Lines.
Between the Lines, isn't it?
Yeah. Big her up, man. Thanks for coming on once again. And yes, big up Hotspur, man. Again, as I said, all comments and all viewpoints are always welcome, especially you guys in the chat. Big up Adrian as well. I'm going to get Adrian on my next show, definitely.
And JJ, please. I know he says every time. Please, I want you to come on the show with us. He's always in the comments on every show I'm on. So, JJ, please.
JJ as well, man. So, yeah, pick yourselves up, man. But, yeah, people, love every time. Big up Marlon, smashing it as always. The #1 host that has the most. Let's get it, man.
And as always, as I like to leave, in Ange we trust, and come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.